I am going to wear a hat tonight, but, I had to open up the show with no hat. Because when we saw Mickie James have her match with Asuka tonight, not only did Mish, I love you, my friend, but at 11:03, when you don't answer my Facebook or you don't pop up over here, how am I supposed to know you're here? I literally just changed all the templates. Got no confirmation from you. The show starts live at 11:05. At 10:55, I sent you a message saying I'll be up here ready to go. At 11:03, you were nowhere to be found. So what was I supposed to do? I can't guess or assume. So I just changed all the templates, changed the camera back to 1, changed the preview, all in 2 minutes time. It's not that easy to get, so unfortunately we're going to have to do Mish next week, everybody. Like I said, I had everything set. Look, everybody who is live right now will tell you that the preview for Breakfast Soup invading tonight's show was literally there until 11:03. I had no response. What am I supposed to do? So I had to scramble and change the pictures. I had to use Friday's template. Can't start all over. Can't start. I just changed everything. I can't start all over. It's set up only for one camera now. The call is disabled. So I apologize, Mish. Like I said, 11:03, no response, no connection, no nothing. I even put question marks on the Facebook, like, where are you? So I have to do this solo. And trust me, everything that I had planned to do tonight, up until 2 minutes before showtime, was planned for a discussion. Was hyping it all day, giving away prizes tonight. And look, this might be the Monday effect from previous shows. I can't assume that somebody is going to be on literally a minute or two before we start. I have too many times in the past where people no-show, and what am I supposed to do? So, so unfortunately, no Mish tonight. Very, very, I'm disappointed. Look, shit happens. I didn't want to curse. I'm already cursing, but hey, we'll have a good show. And like I said, everybody in the chat right now will bear witness that everything was set up for the two-man show tonight, but at 11:03, I heard nothing, seen nothing, no connection. So I can't just sit here until 11:05 and then start sweating and scrambling and trying to switch things around. So that's what happened. Now, like I said, I opened up the show today without a hat on. I got the hat right here, but Mickie James, she had the match with Asuka. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but I got to be honest with you. I was kind of more infatuated with the guy in the background, that WWE fan. I mean, look at the hair on that guy. Could we zoom in on this guy a little bit? I mean, that's the look. People on social media that realize that after 8 months of just tweeting all day and not working, that it resulted in no money in the bank account. That's the look you get. But I'm talking about this guy. I'm like hypnotized with this guy's hair. I mean, that's the kind of hair I want. My God, look at that. Look at that. Oh, my goodness. I love it. I love it. So I poofed up the hair as best as I could. My hair. So now we could put the hat on, and we'll have a good show. Giving away a little prize tonight. Now, for anybody out there that saw the very beginning, that was my impersonation of Wobbly the Walrus that they did on Friday. By the trick of technology, somehow those two screwdrivers flipped backwards into my mouth perfectly. Perfect walrus. It was kind of a little disturbing. I mean, you know what? It. I want to show it one more time. Pretty talented there. Look at that. Slow motion. When I put that together, my fiance is like, "What the hell is that sound?" I sound like, like a bear that's like in a bear trap trying to die. I mean, for the haters out there, this is for you. One more time. Look at that. Perfect. Perfect catch. All right, enough of that. Everybody, what the hell was that finish of Raw tonight? I mean, is the WWE roster stupid? Where is Raw Underground? Where are all the other wrestlers? What did everybody at the back did the ice cream man show up? That the Hurt Business are the only 4 dummies? They're coming out there, oh, yeah, we're going to have a fight. Yeah, we're going to take on 45 members of Retribution. How stupid do they look? Where's the rest of the roster? Where's Adam Pearce? Oh, is he jerking off in the bathroom? I'm talking storyline here. Where was the security? Where was everybody? The Hurt Business comes out, it's 4 on 40. That's not even like a formula for a bad movie. That was horrendous, man. That was god awful. That was god awful. As I have brought to your attention for quite some time now, WWE storylines, everything is taking a scenic route. Things that should be done in 2 to 3 weeks, they're now doing 5 to 6 weeks. If you saw the preview for tonight's show, I pointed out that WWE is expediting a little of this storyline with Retribution and some other storylines because they are fearing the effects of Monday Night Football. Now, you look at this, all of you out there that are tuning in right now are wrestling fans, obviously. All of you that are tuning in right now watch some type of wrestling during the week. WWE, AEW, Impact Wrestling, whoever you choose to watch. But for the most part, everybody watches some type of wrestling on a weekly basis. So you can't just blame low ratings on COVID. If you're a wrestling fan, you're watching wrestling. If you're a baseball fan, you're watching baseball. If you're a football fan, you're watching football. The only reason why you choose to not watch those sports or entertainment anymore is because, 1, they're not on. 2, maybe it's for political reasons. I know some people are not watching NFL for various reasons. Honestly, if you can't get past, the social messages that they're trying, just enjoy the game. Me a couple of years ago, I kind of, because I know how a lot of you feel, you want to tune into entertainment to get your mind off of the stuff going on right now. My problem with a lot of sports organizations is you could paint things on a field, you could wear things on your shirts, you could wear things on your helmets, you could wear things on your jock straps. That's not enough. That's not enough. You have to get involved with your community. You have to get involved with both sides of the coin. I know there's a lot of crap going on in the world right now as far as police brutality and a lot of stuff, but I got news for you. Police are never going away. Law enforcement is never going away. So people need to come together, because as I've been saying repeatedly, it's getting toxic where every person is stereotyped for being bad. I'm sure people out there who are black don't want to be stereotyped that just because they're black, they're looked at as a criminal. You don't want white people out there to feel like just because they're white, that they're stereotyped, that they're privileged. Well, just because you're a cop, you don't want to be stereotyped that you're evil and people should be shooting you and hoping that you die. You don't justify bad behavior with other bad behavior. Everybody needs to come together. So I get it. There's political reasons why you may not tune in as well. But as far as wrestling goes, we're watching it every week. In the mid-'90s, when you had this ridiculous cartoon era, for WWF, and you had, well, Doink was kind of cool, but, you had the plumber, you had MVP, you had this one, and the gimmicks were god-awful. People tuned out, not because of an illness, not because of terrorism, not because of politics, not because it sucked. So you look at a year ago, where the ratings were averaging 2.5 million viewers. And now you're down 800,000 viewers. We're in the middle of COVID era. A lot of people are forced to stay home right now. A lot of people are not getting ready because they got to go to school in the morning. A lot of people are not getting ready because they have to go to work in the morning. If anything, for the past 6, 7, 8, 9 months, there have been more people forced to stay at home, and they're still not tuning into your product. So this stuff with TV, WWE's trying to do this shock value with this Retribution. And the sad thing about it is, last week we talked about the five that were in front of the camera, and we were right with every person who we said, you could tell by the eyes. Tonight when they showed the group again, Mercedes Martinez is now under the mask. And Mish and I just had this conversation yesterday, and if you saw the preview earlier, I was really looking forward to having this convo with Mish tonight. Mish and I have been lobbying for a long time now that Mercedes Martinez would be perfect in Retribution. We were just talking yesterday on Breakfast Soup on Patreon that you walk down a dark alley and Mercedes Martinez says, give me all your money. Not only are you going to give her all your money, you're going to tell her, look, give me your address. I'll PayPal you money as well. Take my clothes. Take everything. Please, take everything. She is a legit badass. She looks perfect for Retribution. So we don't want just Mia Yim. We want Mercedes Martinez as well. It looks like we got that. And it was funny because remember last week, Tuesday, we were doing a watch-along on DTKC show, and I said, why is Mercedes Martinez with the Robert Stone brand in storyline? They keep losing. She gets squashed repeatedly. Robert Stone gets run over by plastic tanks, gets this. Why would she want to be associated with a losing faction like that? And I'm just talking storyline. So some of the people behind the mask, Dio Madden, a lot of you out there wanted to see him go a little further. Dijakovic pretty much fell in limbo as far as NXT goes. Mercedes Martinez, Mia Yim, this is one thing. The Retribution storyline sucks. And give yours truly a little bit of credit. And again, I sincerely apologize to everyone out there who was looking forward to Breakfast Soup tonight with Mish and myself. I say this with the utmost sincerity. As much as you all wanted that tonight, I wanted it 100 times more. Because I feed off of Mish, Mish feeds off of me. There's energy, there's debates, there's some great convo. So trust me, I am more disappointed than anything else. But look, shit happens. But like I said, when it was 11:03 and there's nothing connected, and I can't just sit here hoping, is he going to show up, is he not? So at 11:03, I made a decision. Okay, I got to change the templates, change the graphics, change the preview, change everything. And, I will tell you, next week, Mish and I will have an unbelievable show. I promise you all. But I swear to God that, I was really looking forward to having him on. Just like I said. Can't just shut things down. It's not that easy, especially when you're doing a video setup too. Now, as a little consolation for everybody tonight, in fact, you know what? Next week, I'm going to go into my premium memorabilia collection. Next week, Mish and I are going to give out a contest. We're going to give away a prize for someone who tunes in live next week. Maybe we'll have everybody do the hashtag thing like we do Wednesdays. But we're going to give away an unbelievable prize next week. I have some things on my mind. I got a dual sign Ultimate Warrior Hulk Hogan that you could throw right on eBay and get $400 or $500 for. Maybe we'll throw the AEW title up. You know, this bad boy over here. This, it's not plastic. You know, maybe we'll give this, we'll make up for it next week. Tonight, I'm going to still give away the prize tonight. So for all of you out there, sometime later on, we're going to do a trivia contest. And somebody tonight is going to win this Finn Balor signed NXT champion inscribed shirt. And for anyone out there, you know, that questions the authenticity of some of the stuff I have, not only do I show you the prize, but I actually show you the person signing it. That is, oh, wait, here it is. That is the shirt on the right. I know it's a little light because of the flash, but on the left, you see Finn Balor actually holding the shirt that you're going to win. Not a copy, not a different one. That is the actual shirt. Someone is going to win that tonight. It's going to be a trivia contest, and I will tell you right now that it's going to be called Who Dat? And this is Diogo, one of our patrons that came up with the idea of this contest, and I give him credit for it. The rules are simple. When we do Who Dat contests in the future, you know, because I always talk about QT Marshall. If a lot of you out there saw QT Marshall dressed in street clothes, you would probably have no idea that that was a wrestler. You'd be like, who dat? Who dat? Even when QT Marshall wrestled, I have nothing against him personally, but he's got the ownership of the Diamond Cutter. He's got Ali. He's got this. He's got all this TV time. He's got angles and storylines, and I'm like, but why? Why? I know he works hard behind the scenes. I know he's a trainer. I know he does this, but does anybody out there really, when Who Dat shows up on TV, like they just sit glued like, oh, I got to see the progression of the Natural Nightmares. What's going to happen next? Nothing against him. So in the inspiration of QT Marshall in street clothes, I'm going to show you a picture of a wrestler that has been seen on television over the last month. And I will tell everybody that the wrestler is wearing a wrestling-related shirt. All you have to tell me is who dat. First person who gets it right gets the shirt. I don't care if you live 5 blocks away from me or 5 million miles away. You want to win it and you get the prize, good for you. So we'll do that in a little while. So I won't make you wait until 5 minutes before we go off the air. We'll do it soon. Now, obviously, because Mish is on, tonight's show is going to be a little bit quicker, you know, because that discussion is not there. Now, I do have to let everybody know. 2 programming notes, one about me and one about AEW. First off, AEW, for the last month or so, they announced all those preemptions because of NBA playoffs. Up until last week, we were under the impression that AEW Dynamite this week would air live, or, well, not necessarily live, but would air Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. Then last week, during Dynamite, they say, well, you know, depending on the NBA playoffs, if there's a Game 7, we may actually air Wednesday instead. Now, personally, I thought that was, unless that's a TNT decision, I thought that was very stupid on AEW's part, because for the last month or so, you've had everybody focused on Thursday the 17th. And now, because the playoffs ended early, they can have Dynamite on Wednesday the 16th. So instead of keeping it Thursday this week and taking advantage of the fact that NXT is not on Thursday night, they announced that AEW will in fact air this week Wednesday night. So this week we have AEW and NXT going head-to-head once again. So just make note of that. Now, if I was AEW and TNT, I would still air it Thursday night as well. But you're going to have some fans who are going to be pissed off this week because they are set to watch it Thursday night. And Thursday night comes, and unless they decide to air it again the next night, you have some people pissed off about that. So now, the programming note about yours truly. I am going on vacation this week. Impromptu, spur of the moment. The summer is just about over. I have been working my ass off, worked 4 jobs at one point this year. COVID struck, do I want to tweet or do I want to eat? I tried to hustle and make money wherever I can. Been going balls out with all of these shows. So what I decided to do, and this is kind of cool because maybe this is where I'm happy AEW's airing on Wednesday. I am going away this weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So that means Friday there will be no Don Tony show. I know, some of you are disappointed, but what I think I'm going to do is Wednesday afternoon, I'm going to post a video on YouTube. Remember we were going to do a Q&A? You could ask me anything that is on your mind that you want to pick my brain about. You don't need a super chat. I'm going to post a video clip, 2 minutes long, on YouTube, and that is going to be the thread where you could ask me anything. And then next week, I will do a whole Q&A video answering everybody's questions that post them. And maybe we'll even do a contest that the person who gets the most likes for their question asked, then you'll get a prize. And hopefully, it's not like, DT, why are you such an asshole? If that gets the most likes, I don't know if I want to give away a prize. But as far as asking me if climate change is real or it's a hoax, you ask me on the thread, and I will be more than happy to answer it. So we will do that. So those 2 programming notes. So I like I said, I'll be out for 4 days, just recharge my batteries a little bit. We'll be right back Monday. Mish and I will be there this Monday. And look, we're working something out where Mish and I may be on a regular basis on Mondays from now on. Again, nobody was pushed out, but the video and audio only combination just doesn't work. It doesn't work. And I am not taking all this hard work and throwing it away, because someone wants to do audio only. That's why we moved the Monday show to Tuesday. DTKC is on Patreon on Tuesdays. You could sign up. It's not a money grab because we charge $2 a month, and I give away refunds if people really want it. So what's the meaning of life? Yeah, James, post it. I'll answer it. So now, the big buzz tonight is about the match that went down between Asuka and Mickie James. I feel bad for Mickie James. She did not have a good match with Asuka tonight. They just did not click. You know what? To a lot of people out there who masturbate to Penelope Ford, and when Penelope Ford has a crap match, you see all the male hormones out there coming up with any answer, justification. Sometimes people have a bad match. Think with this, don't always think with that. Mickie James, she hasn't been on TV much at all. She had a 2-minute schmaz with Natty that was it ended early because Seth Rollins showed up. And Mickie James was legitimately pissed at that. She has the match last week. I don't see anybody complaining. Maybe there is legit nerves inside that maybe this is Mickie James's last opportunity for a women's championship match. When you cut a promo and when Mickie James says, I live for this, I live for wrestling. Everything about wrestling is her life. Well, when you feel like you're getting pushed out the door or you're being looked at an afterthought when you're not, you're locked into a contract. And I'm sure there's going to be some of you out there that are going to say, well, you know what, Mickie James, if you don't like it, go work for somewhere else. Yeah, easier said than done. Doesn't necessarily guarantee you that the feds that you want to go to are going to suddenly push all their talents they're trying to elevate and push and focus on you. Sometimes people want to say hello when it's time to say goodbye. And sometimes people out there, when they start realizing that their time may have come and gone and they still feel like they contribute a lot and all your life is pro wrestling, that's emotional. And that weighed heavy on Mickie James's mind. Now, look, I can't give you a psychological or physical reason why the match didn't go all that well tonight. But you see tonight the toxic social media out there. People were craving. They needed some raw meat to feast on. And everybody wanted to give their insult about Mickie James. Now, as far as the finish goes, I blame it on the referee. I don't blame that on Mickie James. There was no recreation of the Montreal screw job. You know, all these people out there that are just so desperately trying to get tweet banged about this stuff. There is no controversy. If you go back and you watch the match again, there was a point where they were getting to the finish, and Mickie James was not positioned in the way that she was supposed to be for the Asuka lock. So what happened was Mickie James put her hand down. You could actually see the video, and I can't show it because I don't want to take a chance and get hit for copyright, but she actually taps for a second. And the referee, as soon as he saw that tap, he went for the bell. That's exactly what happened. There is no controversy here. I know about the tweets for everybody who is going to bring it up, and I will get into some super chats in a second. I didn't forget about you guys. But, you know, this morning, Nick Aldis, who WWE is not all that enamored with in the first place. Nick Aldis, because his wife is getting a championship match tonight, he goes on social media, very innocently writes, "As I depart for LAX, I'd like to take a moment to remind you that Mickie James becomes Raw Women's Champion tonight, and then we'll start a series called 20 Pounds of Gold." Okay, you know, I mean, you know, it's not something that WWE would welcome. You know, teasing that they're going to do a series that involves him having the NWA championship and Mickie James having the women's champ. Look, I think we all knew there was no way Mickie James was winning that belt tonight. You don't take this momentum with Asuka going into Clash of Champions and just throw that away. And when we get into who may be next in line, no disrespect to that person, but you want to talk about, you know, less than stellar matches. I mean, you know, WWE's got a big problem on their Raw Women's division right now. They better expedite that Retribution and Unmasked next week or Clash of Champions. They got, within the next 2 weeks, we need the revelation of Retribution. And I will get into it later. I heard the promo tonight, you know, and they added a little bit of the storyline. But you know what, Ray? As far as Mandy Rose goes, you know, for people that didn't check out my Friday show, on the Smackdown recap, Otis, you know, he's feuding with Miz and Morrison, and they've been doing these stupid things where one has the briefcase or the contract, one has the briefcase and the lunchbox, one has a rotten apple, one has this, one has that. Well, on Smackdown, Miz said, you know, he's going to call in a favor. So, you know, we all think, you know, maybe somebody will show up. Maybe we'll have a debut, this and that. So apparently the storyline favor is that Miz got Mandy Rose traded to Raw. And obviously a lot of people are upset at it because of the Mandy Rose and Otis storyline. I tell you the truth, if I was WWE, and you really want to trigger people on social media, they should have traded Mandy Rose for, what's her face? Billy Kay. You imagine the net? Talk about forcing two teams to split up. Mandy and Otis and Billy Kay and Peyton Royce. Oh, man, that would have been awesome. I'm like, please, but I didn't write that. What I would do with Mandy Rose, seriously, does anybody out there, how do I say this? Does anybody out there really feel that Otis has a chance of cashing in that briefcase and winning the championship? I think a lot of you out there may feel like Otis could cash in the briefcase, take on Roman Reigns, but lose. Otis does not feel like he's on momentum right now where he can be a heavyweight champion. I don't think WWE would want to do that with just LED panels in attendance. I think they would love to have that more for a live crowd and the reaction and just, you know what I'm talking about. So, and Otis can get a championship match for any reason down the line. They could bump into each other in the back. Otis could bump into Roman Reigns or someone else and boom, friction title shot. I just talked about it Friday with Nikki Cross. We just had that whole storyline where she got the championship match. I got my family in Scotland. I need to win this. I keep losing. I got my family. It's my time. I got my family in Scotland. I can't keep losing. And she lost. And all of that, led to depression, upset, anger, disappointment. And she's got a title shot again. On my family. So Otis could get a title shot for any reason, anytime. So yours truly likes to think outside the box. Sometimes my thinking outside the box actually ends up happening. So I thought, you know what? They could go two creative ways with Mandy Rose being traded to Raw. Miz called in a favor, got Mandy Rose traded. Well, Otis could call in a favor, and Mandy Rose gets traded back to SmackDown. All this is designed, and she's right back where she was before. If you want to take it one step further in the creative sense, what if Otis offered up the Money in the Bank briefcase so he could get his lady back? Wouldn't that be like the ultimate noble thing to do? Not like Keith Lee in NXT storyline, where Keith is like, oh, I got 2 titles. I feel guilty. I shouldn't have 2 titles. I mean, double champion is history, and, I fought and I got both belts. But, now since I'm a double champion, you should give one back. And he lost the other title. He ended up with nothing. And by the way, for people tonight now upset because he's wearing a singlet, you're upset because now you only get to see 70% of his tits, 70% of his upper body. What's wrong with all you people out there? Be happy that the guy is getting elevated and not getting, put on the sidelines. They put him right in the mix. I talked about this before he came to the main roster. Everything about Keith Lee is main roster. His character, his charisma, his promos, the way he talks, that's main roster. So be happy with that. You don't like his theme music? Get over it. You don't like he's wearing a singlet now? Get over it. What do you want? The perfect theme and the perfect look? And he gets squashed like a grape? Which one would you rather have? Let him come out to no music. If he's getting the opportunity and he's getting the... Stop. Seriously. Enjoy it. Lighten up. Not everything needs to have 15 likes attached to it. So, anyway, so my idea is, if you want to go one step further, Otis is willing to give up the Money in the Bank briefcase so he can get his lady back. You could do that any way you want. You could have Otis give it to Miz. I'll give you the contract. I'll give you the briefcase. Please call in your favor. Get my lady back on SmackDown. Makes Otis look like $1 million. He doesn't even want a title shot. He wants his lady. Now, you could even go even one step further and do another swerve, and Mandy comes back, and Mandy turns on Otis. Oh, man. That's like Keith Lee all over again. And give up both my belts. And nothing. So, and Mr. Mike actually likes Keith Lee's music. It's not that bad. I know a lot of you out there like to sing along with the themes when you're home and you're by yourself with no significant other, because what thing would like sit next to, just, you see some of the people on social media, with their tweets and their jokes and their emojis and their catchphrases. I seriously, I just picture if they had a significant other next to them. That's why I usually don't write stupid crap like that anymore. Because I will admit it. I'm a goof. I absolutely am a goof sometimes. We're all goofs. But when, I say to my significant other, hey, honey, look what I just wrote about this person. And she looks at me and she's like, how old are you? And I'm like, yeah, I get the point. So people just need to lighten up out there. You don't have to tweet 35 times during Raw, to try to get all his attention. Just enjoy the show, Retribution tonight. Oh, like I said before, where's Postman Pierce? Where's security? Where's Dolph Ziggler? Where's Raw Underground? Where's Yabba Dabba Kato? Where is Ziggler? Where is everybody? Where did Mr. Softy come? Like I said, and everybody was outside. That is awful. That is awful. You want to have 5 people in Retribution? Fine. Now, I'll be honest with you. Remember the first 2 weeks of Underground and Retribution showing up, and I said, did anybody take notice that they never do anything to Raw Underground? Anybody notice tonight that there was like 30 of them? Remember my original idea 5-6 weeks ago that most of you out there thought it was stupid, that Shane McMahon is behind Retribution? What happens if everybody that unmasked tonight are all the people who are around the ring during Raw Underground? I'm not talking about Strowman or Ziggler or anyone else. Maybe Ziggler is under there. I don't know. But, you can have moles. Somebody in the WWE could be a mole. They could be the ones that are allowing Retribution in the building. How does I almost said Hangman Pierce. How does Adam Pierce keep failing like this? You see that many. See, this is what people need to understand. Retribution are under masks. So you can't compare it to NWO. You can't compare it to Nexus. You can't compare it to other factions in the past. But when you have 30 people at ringside tonight, beating up McIntyre, beating up Keith Lee, those 25 of those 30 people are not going to suddenly go back to whatever country they came from, or they're just going to go back home. They got a payday and they go home. No, after all of the weeks that have gone by, if you're going to show 20 people under masks tonight, you're going to see 20 people get unmasked. Maybe not all at the same time. Not everybody is going to be a household name. But when you have that many people under masks tonight, you're not going to suddenly next week narrow it down to 4 or 5. They're going to keep 20 people in Retribution. And when you realize there's that many people in Retribution, that's almost like another organization entirely, a promotion entirely. So you take Raw Underground, you take everybody that's around ringside, and they reveal that they're all Retribution, and that's why Retribution never does anything to Raw Underground ever. And remember Survivor Series. This is all going to fall in line with Survivor Series. Could very well end up being Shane McMahon heading up Retribution, Triple H heading up NXT, Stephanie heading up Raw and SmackDown. It's possible. It's possible. I'm not saying that it's going to fall in line. Now, tonight, this is 2 weeks in a row that Retribution spoke. And when they spoke, it was awful. Because it was so choreographed. Like, if you're going to destroy people from WWE, when you specifically use superstars, that right off the bat is just hokey, campy, corny. But tonight, they brought up Performance Center. And they actually talked about how they were given promises and they were in the Performance Center. So that is the little seed that tells you that these are former NXT stars. Now, it would be stupid for Triple H to be the one revealed to be behind this, because they're cutting promos that they're destroying WWE because they haven't gotten opportunities. Why would Triple H be the leader of people who, since he runs NXT, he didn't give them opportunity. You understand what I'm saying? It doesn't make sense. So, like I said, the fact that you still have 20 plus people under a mask, that means there's going to be 20 plus people on Retribution. You'll have, the focal point, which will be 5, 6, 7 people. But for the most part, you're going to see, and they'll probably all wear the shirts. So when they come out or they have matches, you'll know who is who. And who knows, maybe Raw Underground ends up, you have the Retribution people versus Raw and Smackdown and this and that. But I'm telling you, the fact that they haven't narrowed it down to 5, this is going to be almost like another organization trying to take over Raw and SmackDown. Well, not SmackDown, because you got to give me credit for that. We picked up on this 3 weeks ago with the TV 14 rating. Fox told WWE that night, we don't want Retribution on SmackDown. We gave it a TV 14 because we don't want that Antifa-looking crap on SmackDown. Ever since then, there's been no Retribution on SmackDown. We called that 3 weeks ago. You all picked up on that as well. Thank you, Michael, for the kind words. But, that's just the fact. Have you seen anybody come up with it? No. They can't even give you an exclusive news source because for 3 weeks, they didn't catch on to it. A lot of these breaking, you see the news story that broke today? A person currently under WWE has decided this person is not renewing their contract. But we can't tell you who it is. You have 100 people employed with WWE. For the last 50, 60, 70 years, there's always been wrestlers who decided to non-renew their contract for whatever reason. They want to go to another promotion, they want to cut down, they want to spend time at home, maybe they want a little break, this and that. So when you give a general statement, somebody has decided not to renew their contract, but we can't say who it is. That is like generic 101 bullshit, just to say bluntly. They weren't smart enough 3 weeks ago to realize the TV 14 and Fox, that next week when Retribution didn't show up at all, if they really had connections, that next week they would have reported the reason why, you could see the top, you could picture the top, the reason why Retribution was not on SmackDown. Our sources tell us that Fox was very upset at Retribution being on SmackDown last week, that they gave it a TV 14. And since WWE does not want TV 14 ratings because of their advertisers and family entertainment, that they were forced by Fox to take Retribution and put it as a Raw-only promotion. And hence, we will not see Retribution on SmackDown anymore. No, the only thing that came closest to it was the following week, some people said, oh, so all the focus could be on Roman Reigns. And you realize how moronic of a guess that was. So I'm telling you, the next 2 weeks, there's going to be a reveal with Retribution. Could happen next week, could happen in Clash of Champions, but WWE is very, very nervous about the decline in ratings now with the NFL back. NFL is not knocking it out of the park with ratings either. But you take away even 100,000, 200,000. Last year, I think the first week in NFL, they took 400,000 or 500,000 viewers. It's not going to be that level this year. My guess is they may lose 100,000, 150, the most. They're not going to have big drops from it. But right now, you need to try to bring in whoever you can. And they're trying to do all these storylines. You got Raw Underground, you got Thunderdome, you got Retribution, you got this, you got that, you got this, you got new people on the roster. And the Raw rating is back to what it was before Thunderdome. The newness wore off. I remember saying that to all of you about a month ago, that, after a while, the newness is going to wear off. And then people are going to realize that we got, even though the product may look repackaged, and even though it might have a shiny new label, it's still the same spoiled meat on the inside. Now, not everything is spoiled. Dominik, Seth Rollins, cage match tonight, great match. Murphy, having more of a fallout with Seth Rollins. I'm telling you. I said this 2 weeks ago. I'll repeat it again. I think Aleister Black aligning himself with Seth Rollins would be ideal. You don't kick Murphy out of the group yet, but Seth Rollins brings in Aleister Black. Murphy is a little bit jealous. They're forced to team up with each other, a little bit of competition here and there. And then if Murphy has a falling out completely, now I know some of you out there think there might be a twist in the storyline because Aaliyah showed a little bit of compassion for Murphy tonight. And by the way, look, when I talk about social media, complaining all the time, I'm not saying not to complain. I'm just saying that if 90% of what you're watching sucks, why are you watching it? If everything you have a complaint for, why are you watching it? There is wrestling product out there that I don't like. I don't watch it. I don't watch it anyway, so I could just tweet insults and get tweet hand jobs all night long. But here's where I'm going to complain a little bit too. All right? I think that's a little too small. Well, yeah. You see, here's proof. All of the banners that I have set up tonight, I had it set up to be in the middle of the screen because the left camera would have been yours truly, the right camera would have been Mish. So I set up all my graphics tonight to be in the middle so it didn't block my head or Mish's head. So I couldn't change everything. But you look at this picture. They have on the graphic now, Dominik with Ray, Angie, and Aaliyah. With all due respect, I say this not lightheartedly, but I say this with a little bit of respect. Why is Angie, actually, let me say it like this. Why is mommy, daddy, and sister coming out with Dominik every week? You know what it's starting to feel like for yours truly? It's starting to feel like a little kid that goes to kindergarten and mommy and daddy and little brother or little sister all have to go to the bus stop with the little kid and they all have to walk onto the bus with him. And then, he's like, no, mommy, no. Why does Dominik have to keep coming out with 3 security blankets? I understand this is going to lead to more storyline. And who knows, maybe Aaliyah, like I said a couple of weeks ago, maybe Aaliyah is training to wrestle. But, but still, Dominik is knocking it out of the park. Nothing against Angie. But, you see her going in the ring. Like, I'm not trying to be vicious here. But if you're going to be a character on the television, I want to see a Singapore cane to her head. I want to see a chair shot. I want to see her getting a move on her. And again, nothing against her personally. I'm talking about characters on TV. Last week, like I said, it looked like a piñata. Everybody's taking a turn, hitting Murphy. Were we going to have some candy come out of his ass? So it's starting to turn into that Dominik needs mommy, daddy, and sis to come out with him all the time. Looks like a kid in kindergarten. No, mommy, you got to go on the bus with me, mommy. Ah, mommy, no. Yeah. Anybody agree with me with that? I'm not crapping on Dominik. I have been saying for the last bunch of weeks, Dominik is knocking it out of the park. Seth Rollins, how many times have I said this? Seth Rollins deserves so much credit for helping Dominik as well. Everybody focused on this weekend with the hug. Dominik hugging Vince McMahon. Oh, you're so cold. Oh, you're wet. Oh, you're wet. Oh. No, but seriously, everybody focused on the hug with Vince and Dominik. Seth Rollins deserves a crazy amount of credit for helping Dominik get to this level. But I think something needs to change fast. Because mommy and daddy and sis keep coming out for the matches. I'm telling you, I don't like it, man. I don't like it. It's getting to a point where he looks like a child that, like that separation anxiety. I mean, they're going to be characters on TV. I want to see some, pun intended, retribution. Retribution. I mean, what are you supposed to do? You're not allowed to touch Angie, but she's allowed to hit people with Singapore canes? You know, it's coming off campy and corny. And Dominik is on a roll right now. And I don't think that's necessary. You know, you want to tease a little something with Aaliyah. Aaliyah turns maybe on Dominik. She starts coming out with some badass clothes and this and that. Hey, then fine. But, you know, then with Dominik, especially in the graphic, you see the graphic right there? That, Dominik with Ray, Angie, and Aaliyah. How's about Dominik with Mommy, Daddy, and Sis? Buff Bagwell, everybody used to make fun of because Buff Bagwell needed his mommy there. You know? What is this? The Latino version of Buff Bagwell? I mean, obviously he's more talented. No disrespect to Buff Bagwell, but I don't know. Starting to get a little bit sick of that, to be honest with you. So, anyway, so before I go any further, I should have opened up with this, but because, you know, the opening of the show was very discombobulated because, you know, I honestly thought Mish was a no-show. And look, you know, Mish has been there for me so much over the years, you know, I mean, not upset in any way, shape, or form. I just had to shift and change templates and, you know, shut things down and rechange everything to do a show. But, you know, next Monday, Mish will be here, and we will knock it out of the park for everybody out there. I promise you that. But in the midst of everything that went on earlier, Chris Farver, I just wanted to send my thoughts and prayers with him and his family. He lost his dad a couple of days ago. And he usually tunes into the show, and he was unable to because his father died. So, you know, I still have my father here, and he's not in the greatest of health. And trust me when I say this, every week, and I'm going to see them tomorrow night as well, every week I cherish the time that I spend with my parents because there's no guarantee that anybody's going to be around for X amount of, that's why I try not to waste any days at all for whatever reason, whether it's work, you know, I try to always, you know, maximize just everything. So just wanted to send my thoughts and prayers to him. So with that said, I wanted to mention this for anybody out there that is interested. Now, right now, this is obviously just archive. This is not for live future episodes. But Hulu just signed a deal that they're going to be bringing Vice onto Hulu. I'm a subscriber to Hulu. And Dark Side of the Ring. All the episodes will be available on Hulu shortly. I told everybody recently that I binge watched every episode of Dark Side of the Ring. I watched them about 6 weeks ago. And, you know, I'm not going to lie, some of the episodes, you know, there was so much left out of it. Some of it you could see that they were just trying to, you know, I don't want to say clickbait because they were all well produced, but some of them were not all that spectacular. But I watched every episode, and when I was done watching every episode, Dark Side of the Ring overall is a good thing. I think they have to focus more on the dark side of the ring, not the bad creative side of the ring, like Brawl for All. You know, I know they grasped at that one. And I like Brawl for All, by the way. But, yeah, so for all of you out there, you know, if you haven't seen the Dark Side of the Ring episodes yet, it'll be coming to Hulu. And check them out. I think overall, you'll really enjoy it. I really do. Now, as you know with my shows, I don't give you your typical Raw recap. You know, we talk about things during the show. We emphasize things here and there. Then towards the end, I just give an overall summary because we covered a lot of things already. I want to mention something right now, and this has to do with Miro. Miro. I appreciate everybody who understands. I don't like always having to reference the toxicity of social media, but there's two reasons why I always bring it up. Number one, it is a reflection on society. It is a reflection on society. And I know about 5-6 years ago, I predicted that people are going to trade in their real life and responsibilities and relationships for a fake life that they created on social media. But you see how toxic things get. And it gets to a point where it affects what you see on TV. Sometimes you see wrestlers pulled. You know, I mean, I don't want to get into a lot of examples, but it's recently Excalibur, perfect example. You know, and I brought that up before. Excalibur's promo that he did, I think it was Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, it might have been, but that promo was out there for years and years and years. And a lot of people saw it, heard it, didn't think much of it, but because he became a commentator for AEW, suddenly people are triggered. You know, like I say, going back to the Ashley Mazzaro, God rest her soul. I criticized her a lot when she was alive. Everybody knows that. I don't, deny that. But, when she first made that accusation about being abused overseas sexually, 95% of websites out there didn't pay any mind to it. They thought that she was making it up, and they weren't outraged. You know, there was no Me Too movement when it first came out, but suddenly, because there was the Me Too movement and speaking out, all of a sudden everybody was offended suddenly. You know, my take that I've always said is you're offended whether people are looking at you or they're not looking at you. See, like this cuties thing, me, I think it's disgusting. You know, and I've talked about, you talk about that JonBenet Ramsey. I'm not putting her in the category as cuties, but I've talked about it over the years, with Florida and some other things. See, some of these things that are out there, it's, you're just inviting, people to fulfill their fantasies. But you see, when that was coming out a few weeks ago, you didn't see a lot of your fellow people on social media commenting about it or in an outrage. But now, because it's trending, now everybody suddenly wants the FBI to investigate that. You're outraged whether one person is offended or a million people are offended. And, that's why I always bring it up, because it is a reflection on society today. And it also affects, sometimes in wrestling, what happens on TV. People get pulled. People no longer want the truth. You're offended. Even if somebody shows you in the face, look, you're wrong. You shouldn't be offended. This is not true. It's no longer, oh, good. I'm glad because I was pissed off, man. No, now it has to be true. It must be true. It can't be false. People hope things to be true instead of hoping that it'll be false. So that's why I always bring it up. And you see now with Miro, and I brought it up Wednesday, all this guy did was find a new job, new employment. Was he never supposed to wrestle for another company again? Look at the Impact Wrestling Bound for Glory poster. Look at all the people that are focused on there. I think about 3/4 of them are people who are released from WWE. Nobody says that. People now are changing the AEW graphic to make it look like a WWE logo with the AEW colors. I brought this up Friday. Go look at Impact Wrestling from 2018. AEW is more Impact Wrestling from 2 to 3 years ago than it is with WWE. People leave jobs, they get work elsewhere. And for some reason, people get angry at that. People get angry at Miro. The guy's happy. He's smiling from ear to ear. And for some reason, that angers people, that triggers people. He cuts a promo that take the brass ring and shove it up your ass. And I can't believe the number of people who are on social media writing over and over again, I'm sick and tired of people leaving WWE and they have to badmouth them. Well, you know what, motherfucker? They're the ones that are frustrated in their job, not you. You work for a job and you feel like you've been mistreated even though you were given opportunity, and you leave that job and you were unhappy all that time, and everybody else around you is like, what are you upset about? You got a good job. You had good money. You had good this. No, you weren't there. You don't know what I went through. Well, if that is okay for you, then show a little respect for Miro and others. Lana, because Lana bans people on social media, they can't stand her. They belittle her and put her down and everything like that. And Miro goes on Bustin' Open Radio today, and he says he's a little concerned that WWE might take a little bit out on Lana for what Miro said in his promo. You might have remembered my show on Friday. I said I hope WWE doesn't, try to do stupid stuff with Lana as almost like a FU for what Miro said on AEW last week. So what happens today? Lana loses in a minute. Lana gets put through a table. Lana is out. It awfully felt like WWE, okay, your husband wants to do it. And what was funny today? And again, no disrespect intended to this person, but I actually saw two different news outlets out there say, Miro said on Bustin' Open he's concerned. But Miro could look at Sean Spears. And Sean Spears, even though he left WWE and was disgruntled about it, now his, significant other, Peyton Royce, is getting a push. So she wasn't jobbed out. I got news for those two sites out there. With all due respect to Sean Spears and Miro are not on the same level. Miro, in my opinion, was up here, and Sean Spears is over here. For whatever reason, you do not compare the two. But as you saw tonight on Raw, Lana, got double whammy. And I'm not going to lie to you. It feels like WWE did that as a little payback for Miro's comments on AEW. And honestly, I think that is petty. I think it's ridiculous. I mean, Lana's okay. She didn't get rushed to a hospital for real. She's not going to die on the operating table. She's okay. But as far as the character goes, you got to start wondering now, is WWE going to put Lana in the doghouse because of Miro? And if that's the case, to me, that's tacky. That's ridiculously stupid. So, Michael thinks Eva Marie greater than Lana. I tend to disagree, to be honest with you. Look at the storyline with Lana and Lashley and Rusev. I hated that storyline. I don't remember anything with AEW or anything going on at that time with those god-awful storylines. So, some of what Lana has been in, as far as storyline, is not the result of another promotion or anything like that. It's just bad writing. I don't know. But I couldn't help but feel like WWE is being so petty. Can you imagine if Taz had a significant other in WWE when he said we don't run a sloppy shop? Oh my God. Anyway, I have been neglecting our super chatters tonight. I'd like to shout out a few people. Let me pull them up. And then we're going to get into some more specifics with Raw tonight. Get a couple of news tidbits. We've gone an hour and 5 minutes. So we're definitely going to be under 2 hours tonight. Remember, I will be right back here. You know what? If Mish is still here, and I hope that he is, I'll put the invite right now. Mish. Monday, yes, obviously. But if you're around Wednesday, why don't we do a breakfast soup edition of Wednesday Night Dynamite? So I don't know if he's here. If he's here, let me know. You want to do Wednesday? We'll do Wednesday. We talk about NXT. We talk about AEW. We could talk a little bit about Impact Wrestling. So if he's not around right now, then I'll ask him later on tonight when the show is over. So I just thought of that. Why don't he come on Wednesday and Monday, obviously. By the way, we're going to do that contest any minute. So just want to let everybody know. First, I'd like to get into some super chats. First off, Rizzo. He's nauseous with all those damn camera cuts. I couldn't agree with you more, man. That's another thing with this Retribution. I know they're trying to make it raw. You know, like they have to go to cameras they don't normally go to because of what's going on. But it is so awful. And you could see it too. The reason why they're shifting to so many cameras is because the fighting is awful. You go back and look at MVP. This is not MVP's fault. Go back and watch that attack again, but focus your entire viewing of that segment. You know how I say sometimes, like, watch something back, but only focus on one person during the whole time? Focus only on MVP. And you'll see what I'm talking about. There's points where there's like 3 or 4 people beating him. And one guy is punching sideways. And MVP, you could see, like, he's almost like telling him, like, lay it in. Then there's a point where he actually is holding somebody from Retribution, and there's like 3 guys from Retribution just standing there. I mean, it was just, they kept going to different cameras so people would not have enough time to see how ridiculously bad the brawling looked. And then you got, at the very end, Drew McIntyre and Keith Lee diving over the rope, and somehow that eliminates 45 people. It's just, it was awful. And those camera shots, they're bad in Raw Underground as well. You could see it. There was one point with Ziggler versus Riddick Moss where, like, Ziggler had him like on a move, and they turned to another camera so you don't see how sloppy the punch. And again, I don't blame a lot of the people fighting on Raw Underground because that's not their element. It's not their element. You know, I love the spine buster that Riddick Moss hit, but then it felt, you saw a little bit later, looked like they were going to go for a cover. It's just instinct, and you're taking people out of the element. And I'm telling, and that's another thing too. Even though some of these wrestlers on main roster are beating up people that we don't even know who they are, you know, it would be nice if they actually mentioned the names of the people that they're beating the crap out of. I think the reason why they don't do that is because if it ends up that everybody around that underground ring are Retribution, they don't want to, oh, that's the guy that got punked out from Riddick Moss. Oh, that's the guy that got stretchered out. So I think that's why. But I'll tell you this much. I enjoyed Braun Strowman. I thought it looked great. He was pissed off. He wanted a fight. You know, the only thing I didn't like is that they went to commercial. You know, he's got a stare down with Dabo Kato. I mean, look, is that going to lead to a pay-per-view match? Not right now. So just do it. Blow your load. You're there. Do it. Them teasing this stuff, I don't think they're in any position to be teasing like they are. You know, Braun shows up. He interferes with Moss versus Ziggler, and then they go to commercial. Very, very sloppy. Very sloppy. So, anyone is Mish here? Because I did not see if he actually answered or not. So I'll PM him right after I get off the show. So Neil, I did get your address, and I will get that out for you. Absolutely. So shout out to you. What school you go to? He feels like on Raw when a babyface gets beaten down, nobody shows up. Well, you know, think about it. You know, the Hurt Club got their ass kicked today. No heel showed up for them. Like I said, you know, and this is another aspect we all got to think about as well. How come nobody at Raw Underground tries to stop anybody or make the save? They're in the same building. I mean, is it like a bad cartoon that Retribution puts like a giant padlock on the door and people are trying to get out and they can't get out? The Retribution, like I said a month ago, the reveal is what I'm looking forward to. And technically we have the reveal already. Mia Yim, Shane Thorne, Mercedes Martinez, Dijakovic, Dio Madden. You know, I loved all those websites tonight. The Identity. Brought that up a week ago. You know, Mercedes Martinez, she's done with Robert Stone. Now she could be in Retribution. Fine with me. The reveal is what I'm looking forward to. Everything else about it is awful. It's awful. And, you know, put it this way, just to show you how stupid this is. You got the Hurt Business offering Adam Pearce protection. And they come out, and it's 4 on 20, 25. And go back and look at the broad. Focus on Shelton Benjamin only. He didn't do anything wrong, but just focus on Shelton Benjamin. After about 30 or 45 seconds, Shelton Benjamin, with his suit, standing up, and he's almost like, it looked like a bad Royal Rumble, where he's trying to find someone who he could, like, go fisticuffs with. They should have laid him out in 2 seconds. Now, MVP cutting his promo a month or two ago that the conditions are so bad because the camera's flickering and this and that. And yet, you know, Retribution, how many times have showed up and they never did it? It was just, I didn't like it. It's not good. MVP was on commentary tonight because Ziggler went and did Raw Underground. Yeah, no, I agree, man. Tessa Blanchard and Retribution, I don't know, man. I don't know. I know a lot of you out there saw the news over the weekend that Tessa Blanchard dropped the women's championship. I plugged that wrestling event on Fight TV. They're doing the 3-series Warrior Wrestling, I believe it is. She dropped the title to Kylie Ray. And a few people, we did game night last night. We were supposed to do it Saturday night, but very few people showed up Saturday. But last night, tons of people showed up. We had a ball last night doing game night on Discord. It was hilarious. But someone asked me yesterday, you know, what did I think about Tessa Blanchard dropping the women's championship to Kylie Ray? And my answer is that Tessa Blanchard might be signing with a company. And doing that title change, you know, that might be her fulfilling her final commitments and signing with a company. Tessa Blanchard being in Retribution, the only reason why I disagree with it right now is because of the promo that was cut tonight by Retribution. They specifically said Performance Center. So, you know, you don't think Tessa Blanchard and Performance Center. So the fact that they brought that up, it is only going to be names that have been in the Performance Center for the most part. I agree. Kylie Ray is awesome. It's not that they just gave it to someone else to take it off of Tessa. But I think Tessa Blanchard is signing with a company. And I got news for you, man. If she signs with AEW, and I kind of lean towards AEW for her, because I think of WWE and I think of, you know, the I don't want to say stereotype, but when you look at the WWE mold as far as who they would, there are so many women that Tessa Blanchard would have to leap over to get in the position that she was, like with Impact or somewhere else. I don't know if she gets to that position that quickly. So I think AEW would probably be a better fit for Tessa Blanchard, but you think about it. AEW signed Serena Deeb. She will be more behind the scenes than anything else. But if they could pull Thunder Rosa away from NWA, and then you have Thunder Rosa, you have Ivelisse, Diamante, Tessa Blanchard, Serena Deeb. Now suddenly that women's division in AEW looks completely different. Yeah, some women that they were helped helping bring up may not get that opportunity again anytime soon. But you sign prime names like that, there's a reason why they get the prime spots. And I don't think anybody out there who is rooting for some of the lower card in AEW as far as the women's side, I don't think they should get upset if a Tessa Blanchard, if she were to sign, or Thunder Rosa, if she would be AEW permanently, or this and that. I don't think anybody, would, put it this way, AEW would be nuts not to maximize, what their investment. It's their investment. You have some women in that company that are very, very young, early 20s. What's the rush? What's the rush? AEW does not have an NXT. AEW doesn't have an Ohio Valley. They're working on that school with Hudat and Cody and doing Dustin. He's opened up his school. But AEW does not have an NXT where they can take some of their homegrown that are very, very young, male and female, and let them work there for a year or two. Their only version of that is AEW Dark. And I'm sorry, AEW Dark is not like a minor league. I hate saying that term, but that's not what it is. Perfect example, Abaddon. I love Abaddon. I have 2 of her shirts already. I absolutely enjoy her work. Yeah, it's a lot of gimmick, but I love her work. You look at the rankings, she's going up the rankings, and for the most part, it's from Dark, AEW Dark. I don't like that all of these Dark wins are leading into, that should be totally separate. Totally separate. So speaking of AEW Dark, for anyone who is interested, tomorrow night, Tuesday night, you have Evil Uno, Stu Grayson, Alex Reynolds, and John Silva versus Billy Gunn, Austin Gunn, and Private Party. You have The Butcher and the Blade versus Daniel Garcia and Kevin Blackwood. Best Friends versus Max Stardom and Dante Smiley. Brian Cage versus Megabyte Ronnie. I know a lot of these names you're not familiar with. Colt Cabana versus Hudat. Will Hobbs versus Jesse Sorensen. That's a name I know a lot of you know. Penelope Ford versus Danny Jordan. Brandy versus Red Velvet. Santana and Ortiz versus Brian Pillman Jr. and Griff Garrison. Diamante and Ivelisse versus Skylar Moore and Rache Chanel. Brandon Cutler versus Peter Avalon. Why is that match a big deal? I think they're both like 0-26. They're like 0-20-something. So a lot of people think it's going to end in a double disqualification or a double count out because neither one of them has a win. So, me honestly, if I was forced to choose a winner of the two, I'd give it to Brandon Cutler. Peter Avalon, like I said, he looks like an anorexic, Ravishing Rick Rude fanboy. He wears the Ravishing Rick Rude robe. He looks like he wears size 18 children. And he's a librarian. I want to stick that finger up his ass. Seriously, I want to stick that finger up his ass and I want to shove it up his nose and make him lick it. Nothing personal, but I don't understand why this guy is... There's nothing about Pete Avalon that I like. Nothing. I'm telling you. I think my telephone is like got a bigger waistline than Pete Avalon. So, yeah, he shops at Baby Gap. I don't know if they have robes at Baby Gap, but he looks, I'm serious. Somebody for a joke should send him a $10 gift card for Baby Gap. Seriously. You get me his address, I'll do it for $10. I'll send him a $10 gift card for Baby Gap. Say, here, Peter. Shh, don't tell anybody. Shh, I got you a gift card for Baby Gap. Go buy yourself some underoos. So, best wishes to Ivar. Remember last week when he does the X? He's messed up, man. He's had neck injuries. He's got neck issues for a while. I heard bone spurs. I heard, hitting the nerves, which is not fun. Especially when you're a big man like that. That's all you need is to start losing a little bit of feeling in, your upper arms, especially when a lot of your work is strength. So Ivar, we still don't know what actually injured. I know WWE said cervical injury, but I don't, I think it's more to it. It looked almost like a broken leg or torn something, Like I said, he could have just slid under the ring or just laid on the floor and just whispered in somebody's ear, man, I hurt myself bad, and that would have been it. When this guy, when he's like, I don't give a shit if Thunderdome sees me. I don't care if the whole WWE universe sees me. I don't care if all the cameras see me. X. That wasn't a shout out for DX. He's telling everyone I'm injured badly. So WWE is having him go get neck surgery. So because he's going to need a lot of time to rehab because of the injury from last week or 2 weeks ago, they're going to have him get neck surgery. This way, you hit two birds with one stone. As he's recovering from one injury, he's also recovering from the neck surgery. Now, the thing is he's not going to be able to lift for a while because of the neck surgery. So that tells me that whatever he injured has got to be torn or broken because that needs to heal before you could even rehab that. So best wishes go to Ivar. Really, best wishes. The Rock's daughter, Simone, today had successful knee surgery. She was writing on social media last week that she had a problem where her kneecap kept popping out. I had that happen once, man, and that shit hurt. I went camping and I fell, and my kneecap, popped to the side. And, went to the doctor for it, and I don't remember how bad it hurt, but that son of a bitch hurt. So she kept having it fall out. So you want to do this contest? Let's do this contest because we really only have some fill in the blanks with Raw since we talked about it already. We don't have much else to get into. And like I said, tonight I was planning for Mish and I doing a joint show, but like I said, for the 18th time, it was 11:03. I had not heard from him. He didn't connect, and I got very nervous thinking that, hey, he's got a life too. So when I didn't hear from him by 11:03 and the show starts at 11:05, you got to make a decision. Okay, do I start changing things for a solo show or do I cross my fingers? And then if it's 11:05 and now I need 5-10 minutes to set everything up, and he's not a show, a lot of you out there are going to leave. I'm not going to wait an extra 10 minutes for this guy. I need the show now. Well, that's it. I'm out of here. So, anyway, once again, back is the incredible. That is what we're giving away. Wow, how long did I have this up here? Oh, you know what? We have a couple of more super chats. We'll get into it in a minute. Let's do the contest first. Like I said, see it right there? Finn Balor, signed Balor Club shirt. He also inscribed it NXT Champion, and that is the actual shirt. Like I said, it looks light right now because of the way the flash, but that is the exact shirt. You got Finn Balor holding it, so it don't get any more real than that. So what I am going to do is I am going to put on the screen right now a picture of a wrestler. The wrestler has been on television within the last month, 6 weeks tops. He's been on either WWE TV, AEW TV, or Impact. Once you see the shirt, you'll know which brand he's been on. First person who tells me who this wrestler is, who that, will get the Balor shirt. Now, somebody may answer it like this. I don't want the person's real name. I want his wrestling name. First, last name. Not, give me first name and that's it. You got to give me first and last name. Very simple. You just got to tell me who that. And trust me, I was going to go back to Ring of Honor from 10 years ago and pull an old Adam Pearce or pull an old, somebody who's just generic milquetoast, and people would be like, that guy looks like he works as a bag check-in in an airport. There's people out there that you see them in street clothes, you never know that they're a wrestler. So get your typing fingers ready. I am going to put the picture on the screen now. People are already trying to guess. You're not going to guess it. Oh, so Mish is here. No, so Mish, before we do this, Mish, I said this earlier. I guess you maybe weren't around. Do you want to come on this Wednesday night? 10:05 p.m. It's an hour earlier than tonight. We'll do a breakfast soup edition of Wednesday Night Dynamite, and you come on next Monday as well. So he said yes. Wow, that's like when I got engaged last November. He said yes. She said yes. All right, everybody, get ready. I'm going to post the picture now. You got to tell me who that. Who that? First person, first and last name. I know I'm kind of like people like, give me the freaking prize already. All right? Ready? All right? Tell me. Who that? Who that? Who that? Who that? Nope, nobody yet. No yet. Who that? Come on, that's not me, though. Finn Balor, Prince Devitt, Bryan Danielson. I'm disappointed in all of you. Chris got it. Chris got it. A lot of you out there got to be ashamed of yourselves. I mean, there's people still, you know what? Look, there's a winner, but I'll let people type anyway. People like, I have no idea. For some reason, everybody think, you know what? That does look a little bit like Davey Boy Smith. But Chris got it. Chris was the first one that got it right. It is Matt Martell. Everrise, that, a lot of people kind of feel like there's a WWE generic version of the Young Bucks, which honestly is unfair to the Young Bucks. And if you notice, you see the picture in the middle of the screen. Like I said, I had all my stuff set up in the middle of the screen since we were doing the breakfast soup, double cameras. So, Chris, send me a DM on Twitter or email me, dontony@dontony.com. And now the only thing is I am going on vacation Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So I know I won't be able to ship it out to you until Monday of next week. So you just send me your details, and I'll get it out for you. So congratulations. And like I said, I'll come up with an awesome prize for next Monday to make up for tonight. Something good. Like I said, maybe something. And the Warrior stuff that I have, because I have a few memorabilia items of the Ultimate Warrior. They're from the Warrior's store. So it's got his inscription on it. It's got serial number. So, it's no fake stuff here. So congratulations to Chris once again. Absolutely cool. So speaking of pictures in the middle, like I said, everything was in the middle today. Look, that wasn't, but everything was in the middle. Braun Strowman tonight, doing his deal. Yeah, there was the match to hype up. Yeah, Brandon Cutler versus Peter Avalon. That finger, I swear to God, I want to shove it up his nose. I want to do, you know what what I want to do? How many of you used to do this when we were kids? And somebody would do something stupid and you go like this, or they'll be, I don't want to, or they'll be drinking and go like this. I used to have that happen to me all the time. So let's get into a couple of super chats. Definitely need to shout out some people out there. Joe Punches, sending love. Great chemistry between us two. When Mish laughs, we all laugh. Can't wait for future Monday Night Shenanigans. Like I said, I don't want to keep beating a dead horse. It is what it is. But, the compatibility of what we had before, of video on one side, audio only on the other side, it just doesn't work. It doesn't, too many issues. Plus, it doesn't look right, so, I don't want anybody to think that, force someone else out so Mish could go in there. It's just, I know a lot of you out there love my solo shows, but I have a solo show Friday. And I do have a solo show for the most part on Wednesday. I plan on bringing Andre Corbiel on very, very soon. I plan on bringing a few other people here and there to have some good discussions. But I agree with a lot of you out there that, having a dual tandem on Mondays, is probably better. I agree. I have said this before. breakfast soup that Mish and I do on Patreon. It is not like anything we do non-Patreon, because our patrons basically set the foundation of what we talk about, and some of the things we get into is just wild stuff. But I absolutely love doing a show with Mish. So, we'll definitely do. So Wednesday, less than 48 hours, the night before I leave to go away, Mish and I will be here. And you know what? I'm actually looking forward to that, because we don't talk too much AEW or NXT. So it's going to be fun. What school do you go to? Mandy on Smackdown still, brand-to-brand invitation. That's actually not bad. That's not bad. Just adding to what I said earlier, that Otis should try to pull his own favor, or maybe Otis makes a deal with Miz. If you can put Mandy back on SmackDown, I'll give you my briefcase. I'll give you the contract. I don't know if they could do that in the storyline, but, I could see that to show how much Otis cares about Mandy. And Mandy, for the brand invitational, what's stopping her from showing up on SmackDown this week? Obviously WWE writers may not do that, but I like that idea. I like that idea very much. So we will see. We will see. Rizzo, isn't it annoying that all these ex-WWE wrestlers who are now part of AEW just complain about WWE? No, I don't think so. I don't think so, Rizzo. You know what? Who is really complaining? Jericho puts the digs because he plays the game. Plays the game. He teases, he trolls, he feeds into the hysteria on social media. Like I said, some people out there, I totally understand why some of you out there hate when I always bring up social media. But social media, like I said, it's a reflection of society today. And also, social media does influence many times what you see on TV. It's not always, yes, Daniel Bryan, title shot, champion, yes. No, it's not that. A lot of times it's the opposite. Social media ends up pulling someone from TV. Social media gets their balls in a bunch, and you see what happens. Some people are accused of something, sure. Organizations do their own investigations, but, you got to understand something. This is what I think a lot of people don't realize. What Jack Gallagher did was disgusting. What some other people who are admitted to what they did is disgusting. What some wrestlers who have been accused of, who denied it, you got to understand that there's been a lot of accusations that are equally disturbing. Some accusers were contacted. Some weren't. And like I said, you can't always, just because someone throws an accusation out there that, we must contact, we must do this. No, you hire outside investigators, forensics, they pull data, they pull details. And if there's anything there, even remotely, then you take it to the next step. Because again, there are clout chasers out there. There are fans obsessed. My God, did you see? Who is Alexa Bliss dating? She posted a picture the other day. Was it Ryan Cabrera? Is that the guy's name? I don't really pay attention much. She posted a picture, and I know a lot of you have seen this. Ryan Cabrera. I was close. Thank you, Mighty Mighty. I know some of you saw this. She posted a picture with her and Ryan. Cute picture. There was one guy, and I remember his name, foreign name, as far as, he wasn't from the United States. I looked at the profile. That's why I say foreign name. I don't want anybody, you racist. No, the person was not from the United States. And the person not only disapproved of the relationship, hated it, disgusting, this and that, and to the point of weirdness, on a whole weird level. All right, yeah, some of you know who I'm talking about. But my point is that I'm not saying that he made any accusations, but there are all twisted, sick people out there. Not every accusation is real. Not every accusation is fake. You know, you have to do internal. You have to get the ball rolling. If it looks like that there's something there, that's when you take it further. You cannot, could you imagine, and again, I'm going to bring up Velveteen Dream for 30 seconds, all right? And I'm not defending him, but I'm going to make a point. There are people out there that insist that what he did is true and criminal. Yet those people won't contact investigators. Now, I've already discussed why they won't, so we don't need to go there. But here's my point. All the outside investigating that was done, the forensics on the phone, pulling the data, pulling, from the cell phone company, text messages, the original transcripts, naked photos were not exchanged. Soliciting of photos was not there. Because again, just because you delete a tweet doesn't mean that it's gone forever. It's in the database of the cell phone companies. When you start realizing that the person making this accusation is a liar, why in God's green earth would you contact that person when you already have information that shows that it's fabricated or exaggerated? In that person's head, contacting that person legitimizes what that person... See, they contacted me. Do you realize how many people, from athletes to entertainers to musicians to politicians to models to whoever you want to use, who are accused or stalked or have people make these outrageous claims? Some people out there think that they're the boyfriend of this person, or they could be the boyfriend of this person. They just did. And then the last thing you want to do is give that person any, you don't want to legitimize in that person's head anything. So trust me, you don't take my word for it. But like I said, I actually took the time and did the investigation with the Velveteen Dream stuff because I wanted to know, if it was a lie or not. And again, it went from people making accusations, and they wanted to know, was he hacked? And a couple of hours later, he said he was hacked. And then suddenly, that's not good enough. He did it. He did it. He did it. And then they said, we contacted the authorities. Yup. They contacted no. Why would you lie about something like that? Why to this day did he have the accusers not just file the cyber complaint and just say, yeah, it's out of my hands. Whatever happens now, it's out of my hands. Because they don't want the investigators to come back and say, no, we can't, there's nothing there. Now they can no longer use that as a crutch to crucify the guy. Plain and simple. Trust me. Somebody did that to me, made a wild accusation about me, or if somebody made a death threat about it. That's why I talked about it too. Podcasters have done that. News journalists have done that. You've seen it over the last couple of years. News journalists and podcasters out there have said that they have gotten death threats, family, spouse, girlfriend, boyfriend, and the first thing they do is tweet instead of calling the cops, filing a cyber complaint, contacting the cell phone company, contacting the telephone company. This is a true story. I'll give everybody a really quick true story. Back in 2004, no, before that, what am I saying? I moved in here in 2000. So this is 1999 was the first time. 1999, I was doing a wrestling hotline. And I was getting pranks. And what happened was I thought a rival hotline was pranking me, leaving me all these really nasty messages and this and that. I'm sure anybody goes back to the hotline days. You remember there was a guy that was on all the hotlines and he called himself Nick Nazi. Does anybody out there remember Nick Nazi? Well, what happened was I would get all of these messages threatening me, this and that. And I was convinced that it was another hotline that was leaving me all this ridiculous stuff. So, that's what the guy's name was. He claimed to be a Nazi. I always thought it was Matt Zombie. at the time because Matt Zombie would wear the Nazi shirts. So it was just weird to have somebody who claimed to be a Nazi, do it. But anyway, bottom line is this. This gets messed up. What happened was I thought it was a rival hotline leaving me threats, nasty messages. So I was convinced that this hotline was doing that to me. So what I did was I took the voicemail messages, and then on my phone, as I'm in the hotline, my hotline company, I would do a three-way call. And I did the three-way call, got into the guy's voicemail, and then I would hit 1. And what would happen is the message, now I think you'll figure out what I'm talking about. I take my phone, all right? I call my hotline to get my messages, and there's death threat. So I'm convinced that it's a hotline, rival hotline doing this to me. So I take the message, and I hit flash. I call the guy's hotline. I hit flash again. Now both lines are connected together. My hotline and his hotline. So I would hit 1. And what would happen is it would go into his voicemail, and at the same time it would replay the message I got. So I was putting on his voicemail what I thought he was giving me. True story. About 2 o'clock in the morning, because I was still living with my parents. That's why I know this was before 99. 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm getting dial tone here. About 2 o'clock in the morning, my house phone rings. My parents are sleeping upstairs. I'm in the bedroom, and it says unlisted number. I pick up the phone, 2 o'clock in the morning, hello, and it's the Nick Nazi voice calling my personal house. How did that happen? So I hang up. All of a sudden, 2 minutes later, someone else calls me up, cursing me out, a live person. You motherfucker, this and that. I'm like, who are you? Fuck you. And I hung up the phone. It kept going one after the other. What that hotline did was when I called him and played his message, I didn't block my number. So he *69'd it on his hotline when he got the message, and it gave him my phone number. So what he did was he put on his hotline my phone number. He played it. So every one of his hotline callers heard the message I left on his thing, heard my phone number. Now at 2 o'clock in the morning, I got all these people calling my house. You're dead. You're this. You're that. My parents are like, who's calling this and that? That's their phone. It's not mine. So I left a message on this guy's machine, and I told him what I did. I said, you got to take my phone number down. You don't take my phone number down, I'm calling the cops right now. You got all these people leaving death threats, calling my house, cursing me out. You're going to threaten my parents. 2 minutes later, it stopped. Guy took the message down, told everyone that it was a mistake not to call. And, I apologized to the guy for doing that in the first place. The point is, Benjamin, very stupid move on my part. Point is, the minute somebody threatens you, the minute somebody compromises you, especially if you're a minor, you don't run to Twitter. You run to authorities. You run to an investigator. There are so many cyber sites online. You don't run to Twitter. You're getting death threats against your family, death threats against your significant other, death threats against yourself. Call the cops. Don't tweet. And you see that happen. I mean, we could bring up 10 examples right now. So, how we went from Rizzo's comment to there. No, but my point is, getting back to what Rizzo said, is, wrestlers are in the WWE, and when it comes to Miro, I couldn't hit *67 because, what, I probably could have, but because I was on three-way, I think if I would have hit *67, you know what, I probably could have. I didn't even think of it at the time. I just wanted to put back on that guy's machine what he was leaving me, and it left my phone number too, so he played it for everybody. I deserved it. I absolutely deserved it. But my immediate reaction is, I'm going to call the fucking cops. You're harassing my parents' house 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm calling the cops. I don't care if Twitter was around in 1999. You would have not seen me go on Twitter and tweet to everybody, hey, everybody, feel sorry for me. I'm getting death threats in my house. But meanwhile, I didn't call the cops. So anyway. Congrats, Ritz. Rizzo dropped 100 pounds in 3 years. I'm pretty close to you, pretty close. I'm down 75 in about a year and 7 months. And, it's a battle. It's a battle. But, I feel much better, less pain than before. To me, I forget what that phrase is. Food taste. Does anybody know that phrase out there? Food taste better than, or gaining weight tastes worse than food tastes good. So I don't remember what the phrase is. Someone's gonna write it because our audience is the most intelligent ones out there. But as far as Miro goes, like I've said before, when Vince McMahon, he's got the hottest selling shirt in the company, and everybody's chanting Rusev Day. He's going for the brass ring. And we're like, why is he not getting a title shot? Why is he not getting this? Why is he not getting that? Now we find out later on that Vince told him that the fans are not chanting because they love you. They're mocking you. I think Miro has every right to be annoyed and frustrated about it. Unless we're working for the same company, I don't think any of us are in that position to tell someone how they should feel and not feel, honestly, in my opinion. Let's see who else. But congrats again, Ritz. Awesome. Thank you, Jay Carlos, for the kind words, man. A lot of people don't remember this or don't realize it. Still, to this day, 70% of the people that tune into these shows tune into audio only. Not everybody accesses video. And I get why. Not everybody has an unlimited data plan, and it eats up tons of data watching a video, especially for 2-3 hours. My God. But not only that, some of you walk, you drive, you do this, and especially if you're driving, you can't be watching video while you're driving, so you put the audio version on, you just listen to it. So I get it. There's a lot of podcasters out there that don't put up audio versions of their shows. If I got rid of audio only, yeah, my numbers would go up substantially because people would have no choice. But I will never take away that audio only option. I think some people got confused early this year when I said that I was going to be making changes, that not the source being video only, but when you access the shows afterwards, there'll always be an audio only option. But I really appreciate that. I really do. But that's one thing that'll always keep my numbers down. So, Joe Punches, man. I love that cell phone ad with Rick Moranis. It was nice to see him after all of these years. I actually posted a comment in their clip that I thought that would have been an unbelievable Super Bowl ad. Obviously, they don't want to spend that kind of money during the Super Bowl. What was the cell phone company? Mint? Was it Mint? I don't know if it's Mint, but the cell phone company, any of you out there that, may have heard Rick Moranis, Spaceballs, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. He's been disappeared for decades. And he just took part in a cell phone commercial, and it was so cool to see him again. And I heard that, I read a couple of places that he might be, Mint. And I would have never even heard of Mint if it wasn't for Rick Moranis. Never heard of Mint cell phone service before. So, and Jay Carlos, what is the diet trick for me? I'm on keto. No sugar, no grains. Vinny Tortorich, some of you may have heard of him, Tortorich. His diet is more like you can have some fruit and this and that, but I went on keto about a year and a half ago, and I've been 99.9% strict with it. I don't have any grains. I don't have any sugar whatsoever. I just have fat, meat, cheese, nuts, lots of nuts, macadamia nuts, almonds. I now have like hamburger rolls that are made out of almond flour and stuff, but I don't have any fruits. If I have any fruit whatsoever, I might have a couple of blackberries here and there, but I stay away from anything with sugar. My body has not had a drop of sugar since March of last year, believe it or not. And I'm down. I'm getting close to where I could fit into a size 34. I have not worn a size 34 since 1983. Just to give you an idea. I mean, I'm still big. I mean, I'm 6'3.5", so almost 6'4", but it's just things are shifting around a little bit. But, you know, I will tell you this. Slice of pizza, a real plate of pasta, a pretzel, French fries. I haven't had any of that since March of last year. And I have said that in the very near future, I am going to have one. I mean, I realize I'm not going to gain 20 pounds if I just, you know, have a burger and fries one day. It's just that anybody that knows about keto diet, your body has to get adapted to it. And if you fall out of ketosis, to get back in, you experience like headaches and flu. I don't want to go through that. So, but that's why I'm always drinking tons of water. Believe it or not, for anybody out there that's looking to diet or is dieting, and even if you hit a plateau, I will tell you that one of the best things you can do to get yourself losing more weight is to drink tons of water, club soda, just tons of liquids. What they say is whatever you weigh, cut it in half, and that's the amount of ounces of water you should drink a day. So right now I weigh 245. So if you cut that in half, I should have about 120 ounces of water a day. It's about a gallon of water, you know, but it's a lot of water. And you might pee like 10 times a day. But what happens is you flush out a lot of salts, you flush out toxins. That extra water just really helps your body big time. It helps your complexion. That was something that I had. The biggest problem I've had was just drinking enough water. But I could tell you, the first couple of days, and let me just say this, and we're going to finish up the show in the next 10 minutes. But if you start drinking loads of water, and your body's not used to drinking that much water, you may actually gain a couple of pounds the first couple of days. And that's because your body, for some reason, decides it's going to store some water. It's going to store the water. It's not used to taking in that kind of water. I mean, you'll end up peeing it out, but what will happen is you'll start storing water. Then what happens is after a day or so, your body realizes that that is the new norm, and your body will start flushing it out. And you start flushing it out, I'm telling you, it'll help speed up your diet. I can't tell you how many times where I just increased my water intake and I would drop a pound or two in a week without changing anything. So probably the water is the number one thing I could tell you. Number one thing I could tell you. So with that said, let's just fill in the blanks with Raw so we could get out of here tonight. Show opens up with Drew McIntyre. And for some reason, Drew McIntyre tells us that where he comes from, his country, they don't believe in underwear. And why we needed to know that, I had no idea. But that's with a Claymore kick. And I don't know, it was just a sense of weirdness to it. Like he was trying to be funny, but it was just like, I don't think we really needed to know that. But once again, the caricatures, Randy Orton had the caricatures of everybody who he has, hurt over the years, legends, the legend killer, and some of the RKOs, the damage he's done. Today we got damage from the Claymore kick. I want to find out if Dexter Lumis drew that artwork for that graphic tonight. I thought it was pretty funny. But again, it just feels repetitive. It felt like the same thing. I mean, the humor was good. The artwork was excellent. But, they're basically, trying to tease Keith Lee mixed in with this. Adam Pearce comes out and he says that there's a possibility Randy Orton may not be able to compete at Clash of Champions. Again, this is just a 2-week storyline, doubled into 4 weeks. I haven't heard anything that Randy Orton cannot compete. This is the storyline because of the Claymore kicks from last week. So to try to make it interesting, they interject Keith Lee. If Keith Lee could beat Drew McIntyre, then if Randy Orton, again, it feels like Superstorm Sandy. If the equator is like this, and the temperature is like this, and the moon phase is like this, and there's a perfect this, then you got a perfect storm. So basically Adam Pearce is saying, if Lee could win, if Orton cannot compete, then Drew McIntyre plants the seed about an ambulance match. Now think about it. If they do an ambulance match, no holds barred, then does it matter if he has a fractured jaw? Does it matter if Orton cannot compete? It's an ambulance match. So they're just trying to make this a little bit more advanced. In the end, you're going to end up with the same thing. I wouldn't mind it being Keith Lee versus Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre. Why not? The only thing I don't like about that is that Randy Orton can pin Keith Lee and be the champion. You could also look on the flip side. Keith Lee could pin Randy Orton and he could be the champion. Drew McIntyre doesn't have to be pinned. So if they do the three-way, then you start concerning yourself like, oh, is this the way they're going to take the belt off of Drew McIntyre? He's not actually going to get pinned. So you got to think about that little aspect of it. Yeah, Jay Calls, we did the contest earlier. Chris won it. The who dat was this guy, Matt Martell. He actually got it right, so he got the Balor shirt. So, yeah, we did it earlier. We'll do one next week. I'll do one with Mish next week for sure. So, Street Profits beating Cesaro and Nakamura. You know, fun match. You look back on it. I don't mean to be disrespectful to the Street Profits, but I ask you all this. Think Street Profits' championship reign, which has been a while now. Tell me what memorable match they have had during the championship reign. I don't want to say storyline or feud because a lot of you will say Viking Raiders. All those challenges. You look at Street Profits and their reign. Any memorable matches come to mind where you're like, yeah, that match was incredible? Can't think of any. This match tonight just felt like Cesaro and Nakamura giving a little rub to the Street Profits. Felt a little different because we didn't have Garza and Andrade against them. Obviously, we don't have the Viking Raiders against them. But, you know, no, Chad. I'm not crapping on the Street Profits at all. But their tag team run has been less than stellar. WWE's fault. You know, they've taken whatever they've been given, and they've tried to make the best of it. This is WWE's decision. You know, so Garza and Andrade, you know, they're teasing the split still. Zelina Vega's had enough of them. And just to show you how bad the women's division feels like it has suddenly become on Raw. We already talked about the Mickie James match versus Asuka. The match was off. Mickie was off. All right. Her career is not over. You know, obviously what happened tonight, she's got to be extremely disappointed, maybe to the point of somewhat devastated. Don't know if WWE will give her that opportunity again. It's interesting that it happened on Raw and didn't happen in Clash of Champions, because if that match would have went down in Clash of Champions, I think there would have been even more focus on, you know, how it went down. And, you know, like I said earlier, if you go watch it again, the referee made a mistake, but she did tap once, and the referee thought that that was the finish. So there's no controversy, no Montreal screw job. These are people just looking to get attention on social media. But the match was not very good. But after the match was over, and she rolls out of the ring, and the referee, you know, is quote-unquote tending to her, but I think he was consoling her. I think he even apologized to her, too. But here comes Zelina Vega. And Zelina Vega is getting in the face of Asuka, talking to her as if Asuka really, like, understands what she's saying. And as I'm watching this, I'm thinking of the matches that Zelina Vega had with Bianca Belair. And I'm saying to myself, did I miss something? I mean, I know she was good, you know, in the Page movie, but, I mean, did I miss something? Did I go unconscious somewhere? And again, she may be able to pull out a great match. I'm not saying that she can't, but unless I'm forgetting something, there's nothing I've seen from Zelina Vega on the main roster that even warrants a feud with her. And the funny thing about it is, Zelina Vega's promo was like, instead of focusing on people from the past and focus on this and that, and I'm saying to myself, but Asuka's the same age as Mickie James. The fuck is she talking about? So it was dismal. And I look at that Raw, that draft has got to come fast, because that Raw roster, Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax are tied up with the tag titles. Riot Squad are not taking those titles from Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. So you got the Riot Squad tied up in that. The Iconics are no more. Yes, Peyton Royce, I believe, is going to be the one who is going to be having probably the biggest challenge to Asuka's belt. But other than that, it feels like, okay, we'll put Zelina Vega just to buy time. Remember when they threw Tamina, in with, I think, Bailey at the time or something, and it's like, it's just scenic route. Tamina's just a placeholder just to get to the next pay-per-view. Zelina Vega is just a placeholder for Peyton Royce or something else. It's just to buy time. I'm not saying that Zelina Vega is a bad wrestler, but I have seen nothing since she's been on the main roster that tells me that she is a viable challenger for Asuka's title. Just remember, we're talking about Asuka here. Asuka, arguably the number one woman on the roster right now as far as talent goes. Some of you may feel Bayley and Sasha Banks, and I respect that. Charlotte is out of action still, and Charlotte should be back soon. But, man, I mean, Zelina Vega and Asuka, that match is going to end in 3 minutes if that happens at Clash of Champions. So, and by the way, before I do the super chat, about SmackDown with the blonde and the fur coat and all that stuff. I know we've already talked that it's Carmella. But if there's anybody out there that still is not sure, somebody posted this from Instagram. I wanted to share it with you only because there are some people out there that still have doubts that maybe it's not Carmella, maybe it's someone else. Well, this is a split screen. One is from the promo that we saw on SmackDown, and the other one was a picture from Carmella's Instagram. And as you will see up close, the tattoo, you could see the tattoo is the same. All right, it's like I said, I put it in the middle because I didn't want to, block out like Mish's head from earlier. But if you look at the top, you see the tattoo, the heart on the top, and then you see the heart on the bottom. That is the screenshot. So, yeah. So it is Carmella. It's not even a question. But, again, she's going to come back. Nothing against Carmella. But did she suddenly go to Japan for a year and she's going to come back and have this unbelievable wrestling repertoire? And that's SmackDown. It's not even Raw. So Raw, they need to do a draft or reveal Retribution, have Mercedes Martinez or Mia Yim go after Asuka. That's what I would do. Even if Peyton Royce challenges Asuka and Peyton Royce gets knocked from behind and we have Mia Yim or Mercedes Martinez take on Asuka instead, I actually think that actually may not be a bad idea. So, Hurt Business cutting a promo. Cedric finally getting on the mic a little bit. He's doing this for business. And I got to be honest with you, Cedric was not bad. Not bad trying to play the heel tonight. Ricochet and Apollo Crews, as they're cutting the promo, especially Ricochet, the way he's talking, as I'm listening to Ricochet, I'm saying to myself, could you turn him heel also? Let the Hurt Business increase by one, because Ricochet, I think, even though he's such a good guy and he's likable, and the WWE Universe likes Ricochet, but when he cuts his promos, it's so bland, and he's so talented that, of course, you don't want simply because of a promo. And you know what? That doesn't guarantee that Ricochet suddenly is going to be great on the mic because he's a heel. But it feels like Ricochet could use a little bit of spicing up. You know, he would have an awesome match with Cedric tonight. And if they were allowed to go longer, because they only went 8 minutes, they probably could, tear it up even further. But, there was no chance Ricochet was getting the win tonight. I'm interested to see heel Ricochet. I'm fine with Cedric and Shelton being a tag team, but I kind of think heel Ricochet and heel Cedric would be a great tag team as well. So, Kearney, I just got into the whole diet thing. There's anything specific? How did I lose the weight? Like I said, I stopped having sugar. I stopped eating breads. One thing I'll just say, we'll get right back to Raw, and we're going to end in about 10 minutes. So I know we're a few minutes over, but not too much tonight. For 30, 40 years, about 80% of everything I ate was bread. No BS, everyone. For about 4 decades, since I was a kid, about 80% of everything I ate during the day was bread. I didn't like chocolate. I didn't like nuts. I didn't even like ice cream. I didn't even like cake all that much. You give me a bowl of potato chips, pretzels, French fries, pizza, spaghetti every day, that's fine with me. And for about 40 years, that's all, mostly everything I ate. Pasta gulaga, spaghetti with garlic and oils, macaroni and cheese, rice. Just almost everything I had was starch. And I quit it cold turkey. I had the cancer scare, and luckily it was just a scare, but I quit cold turkey. And, just took me about 6 months to really get used to it. But, I don't miss it all that much. But, French fries, my God. In fact, the funny thing is, Chinese food, because right before I started the diet, I binged on everything. There was one day where I ordered McDonald's, Chinese food, pizza, and I don't remember the fourth one. I don't remember the fourth one right now, but I had like everything in front of me, and I just ate everything. But when I would order, just show you how bad it got for me for carbohydrates, you know what I would eat from the Chinese restaurant? Not like chicken and Chinese vegetables, not like roast pork, egg foo young, or spare ribs or anything like that, broccoli. No, I would have fried wontons, French fries, crab rangoons, whatever they are, rancoons. They're like, looks like pot stickers filled with crab meat and like cream cheese in them. Fried everything. Egg rolls, everything fried. That's all I would eat. I would buy 2 bags of fried wontons, a bag of French fries, the crab rangoons or whatever, and that's all I would eat. I would pig out with that. So I quit that cold turkey, and I had dealt with the flu. And the funny thing is, the first big meal that I ever had, it was a giant salad, avocado, bacon, a little bit of steak, olive oil, cheese, gorgonzola, olives, and I put it online. And I had all these people, wrestlers too, some people you've seen on TV, champions also, PMing me and saying, oh, try this, do this, eat this, do this, do this. And I was like, whoa, this is pretty cool. And very quickly, I didn't feel I was on a diet anymore. So, but you got to do a lot of studying first. Oh, ramen noodles. Are you kidding me? Oodles of noodles, ramen. Oh, man, you have no idea. Anything that was starch, bread, pasta, rice. Seriously. It got to the point that if my girl said to me, I'll give you a blowjob, because she doesn't do that. She said to me, I'll give you a blowjob, or you could have a plate of fries. I actually would think about it. Not kidding. Not kidding. That's how addicted I was to starch and breads. So no sugar, no starches. So that's pretty much what and you gotta do a lot of reading and research. Do not quit cold turkey, because most of the time when you start getting those headaches, your body, because let me just say one last thing. We'll move on. One last thing. You ever see how marathon runners, you ever hear that the night before they run a marathon, they eat crazy amounts of pasta? How many times you heard that? Or they call carbo loading. Wrestlers, the night before a wrestling thing, they load up on carbs. This is the reason why. Your body always looks for carbohydrates, for sugars first. It looks for starches, it looks for sugars. And it uses that to convert it to energy. That's why runners and everything, when they eat loads of pasta, that their body is looking for that first to burn. When it cannot find carbohydrates to burn, and the only reason why I'm still doing this is because I see nobody left. By the way, if you're enjoying the show, give me one of these. I appreciate it. When your body no longer has any carbohydrates to burn, it starts looking for protein next. And, you have your steak, your chicken, this and that. The problem is that when you're on a diet like mine, about 75 to 80% of everything that I eat is fat. 80% of everything I eat is fat. Now, there's good fats and there's bad fats. But tonight I had like 5 pieces of mozzarella cheese, giant pieces. I had pepperoni tonight. So your body looks for protein next. When it can't find carbs and it can't find protein, then it looks for fat. It's the third thing it looks for. So the idea is when you go on a diet, if your body burns carbohydrates first, then it burns protein, then it burns fat. So your body's got to get used to having almost everything fat, because when your body gets used to looking for fat first, that's the first thing it burns. You're supposed to have some protein because you don't want to lose muscle. You don't want to lose your muscle. So I'll have like cheese, nuts, protein, hamburger, olive oil. I'll load it up with MCT oil, butter. So your body looks for fat first. The problem is that when you go decades and decades and you eat sugars, breads, whatever it is, your body now can't find it. Your body almost goes into a little bit of a shock. It doesn't know what to do. That's why you get headaches. That's why you get dizzy. That's why you get lightheaded. Your body is not used to that. So now you're basically training your body to change what it looks for. And as time goes by, your body starts getting used to it. It realizes that it can't look for sugar anymore because it ain't there. So now your body looks for protein. The problem is if you have too much protein, then it's not looking for fat anymore. So you have a little bit of protein, but then you have mostly fat. And that's where I'm at right now. So I can eat 200-300 grams of fat in a day and still lose weight. Because my body, so this is the diet version of, DT show. But that's pretty much the science of it. So, by the way, since we're talking about weight and everything, can we stop with the net trying to make some controversy that WWE Creative doesn't want, or it doesn't want to offend Paul Heyman, and they won't come out and say that this is Paul Heyman? Does everybody seem to get amnesia? Didn't they make the nickname of Paul Heyman as a walrus a couple of years ago? Look at the hair. It's wobbly. Look at the dress code. It's walrus. Everything about it is Paul Heyman. All these reports that WWE, that's a Bruce Pritchard idea, and they don't really want to come out and say that it's Paul Heyman. Who is it then? Papa Shango? So can we stop with this false controversy that they won't go out and say that it's a joke? They did a Mr. McMahon. They're not going to do any other character except for Wobbly the Walrus. People, man, I think are just running out of things to talk about online. My God. So, Retribution cuts their promo right after Cedric gets his win. Retribution, again, bringing up the Performance Center. Bringing up the term superstars. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. Just bad. 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 Sarah Schreiber interviews Mickie James. Mickie talking about, she loves the industry, loves wrestling. And we just finished talking about Dustin Rhodes. For you, all of you out there that don't check out the Wednesday show or even this past Friday, a lot of you may not even realize still that Dustin Rhodes, he got that shot against Brody Lee on Wednesday night Dynamite last week. That was the first title match that Dustin Rhodes got on regular TV in 16 years. 16 years. Bet you a lot of you out there probably still don't even realize that. So when Mickie James cut that promo tonight, I kept thinking of Dustin. 16 years, almost 17 years was the last time Dustin got a title shot on regular television. So when Mickie talked about this tonight and had the match, there was probably a lot of emotion going on in her head. This could be her last ever title shot on a TV or any promotion. That this might be it. And trust me, when your nerves and here's a good example. Sonya Deville, Mandy Rose. They had this SummerSlam match. It wasn't good. And a lot of people wrote it off saying, look at everything that happened. That neither one of their minds were probably, in their right frame of mind because, hell, they just almost were murdered. Could very well have been murdered, both of them. Like I said, everybody talks about Sonya Deville, her stalker, her attacker, alleged. What about the fact that Mandy Rose was on that complex too? And that guy was obsessed with Sonya Deville. Can you imagine if he would have got his hands on Mandy Rose, Sonya Deville's rival? Could you imagine? Nobody ever thinks about that aspect of it. But both of them, people gave it a pass. Their nerves were shot. Now, I'm not comparing their nerves to Mickie James's nerves. The point is that, you let nerves take over, everything seems to go wrong. I brought this up not even 2 weeks ago. How many of you out there remember when I said this? That how many of you had such a bad day that you dropped like your coffee? And then you go to wipe up the coffee and then you drop papers on the floor. And then you pick up the papers and then your keys fall on the floor. And then this, you can't seem to do this. And then you forget this. And it just feels like everything is going wrong. How many of you ever had a day like that where just everything goes wrong? People have that in wrestling too. Mickie James has hardly wrestled. And you can have matches, training in the ring with the cameras aren't around. It's not the same. I think people out there, again, just have too much free time on their hands, and they had a field day tonight about this. That's it. Her career's over. Write her off. It's not. No. I don't do that to one person because of one match. People didn't do that. When Brie Bella made her return, and she had that miscue. Oh, no, it's ring rust. People gave her an awfully long leash to keep having those issues. People tonight, like I said, very vicious. And if you're on social media, that's a perfect example why I bring up social media a lot. Because very unfair to Mickie James tonight, in my opinion. Very unfair. And like I said, the outcome of the match, I don't think that was a surprise to anyone out there. But again, Mickie James was pretty much like, why was the bell called? And I guarantee you this. I bet you any amount of money that Mickie James might have thought, that guy's hair. No. But I guarantee you that Mickie James, in the back of her mind, when that referee called the bell, I bet you for a split second she may have thought that WWE rang the bell anyway to screw her over because of what Nick Aldis tweeted earlier. I wouldn't be surprised if that went through her head. But if you go back and you look at it, the referee made a mistake. Mickie James actually tapped the mat, and the referee immediately called for the bell. There was no controversy. I think some people out there didn't even watch the match and were reacting to what other people were writing, and I think they got caught. They didn't even see the match. They didn't even see the match. You almost could see people out there commenting on it, and they never, then they were trapped. Then they were forced to watch the match. That's why you saw some people take a 15, 20-minute delay between two comments because they had to go find somewhere where they could watch the match. You know, you can't just rewind, especially if you're on a streaming TV. But, you know, Mickie James, it was depressing to see a match like that. I give her a pass. The problem is, I don't know if she will get that opportunity again on WWE TV. And, you know, maybe the best thing for her is to go to another promotion. Hell, let her go to NWA. I think she actually would do pretty damn good in NWA. Could you imagine Mickie James and Thunder Rosa going at it for that title? I think that actually would be pretty damn good. And you know what? I think NWA would probably put it more on an even playing field than WWE. Let me say this, and let me tell you why I say that. Let me tell you what really pissed me off tonight about this match. Not the match itself, but when Michael Cole says that this would be an upset if Mickie James beats Asuka, and then I don't remember who it was. It might have been Dolph Ziggler that said it would be a major upset if she won. And whenever they do that, I fucking hate it because you're giving away the result. All right, we don't need to be told it would be a major upset if Mickie James won. Because when they do that, they're pretty much telling you, all right, you know, it's such a major upset that it's not going to happen. I hate when they do that. I hate when they do that. Probably more than anything on commentary. You know, you're on WWE television. You're there because you're talented or you should be talented. So it's the only time it should be a major upset is if someone is brand new in the company or is a rookie and gets a win. Dominik Mysterio gets a win, that's a major upset. No matter who he faces. He gets a win, that's a major upset. But when someone is a 5, 6-time champion and they're the same age as Asuka, and you say it's going to be a major upset, you're pretty much diminishing Mickie James's value and the chances of her winning. And when the bell rings from bell to bell, the suspension of disbelief is you're not supposed to pretty much figure out who wins and who doesn't. Or you're supposed to forget about the fact that you know who's going to win and who doesn't. And when they do that repeatedly, that's their way of saying, look, everybody, you know, I know Mickie James is taking on Asuka, but there's no way she's going to win. And we need to remind you that she's not on the same level of Asuka. So we're just going to keep telling you it would be a major upset. Seriously, I know the commentators are told to do that, but WWE, and I'm a lifelong fan, but fuck you when you do that. Seriously. That pisses me off more than referee botches, or that pisses me off. Fuck you when you do that. Seriously. So, Asuka wins. Zelina Vega challenges her. I question the current status of the women's division on Raw, but I do know with Mercedes Martinez and Mia Yim on the horizon, and for Retribution being solely a Raw product, you know, I think there is light at the end of the rainbow. So, Lashley beating Eric in 2 minutes, not much there. Eric, I don't know what they're going to do with him, with Ivar being out for a long period of time. Maybe you draft him to SmackDown, trade him to SmackDown. I don't know what you do with him. They got issues with him. Kevin Owens, you know, they're trying to play this off. How many times did they say this tonight? Why does Aleister Black have such an issue with Kevin Owens? You remember that Kevin Owens confronted him and talked about this and this and that? I mean, it's not brain surgery. Kevin Owens, you know, hit it Aleister Black insulted him, pissed him off. Aleister Black knocked him out. What about Raw Underground when they had that fight? We know why they don't like each other. Hokey, man. Hokey. But Kevin Owens gets the win on Aleister Black. Aleister Black wearing the patch behind the scenes, but in the ring he takes the patch off because it kind of unbalances, like I've said this before. Walk around your streets. Try to drive with an eye patch on. It's not as easy as you think. So hopefully we don't see this eye patch anymore with Aleister Black. And I want to see Aleister Black join up with Seth Rollins. Give me that, please. Murphy being read the riot act behind the scenes to Seth Rollins, basically telling him, do what you're told and this and that. Murphy, yes, sir, yes, sir. I know we all feel that Murphy may be turning babyface. This may be a case where they may try to do a storyline where Murphy is under the spell of Seth Rollins. And the Mysterios are trying to show Murphy the light. And Murphy, allows it to creep in for a second. And glad I remembered this. Let me tell you one thing I hated tonight about the Mysterio-Seth Rollins match. Do you remember when Murphy came out and beat up on Rey Mysterio a little bit? Then Murphy slammed the cage door and accidentally hit Rollins with it. Remember when they did that? When later on in the night, when Murphy climbed the cage and Dominik knocked him off the cage, Murphy was in the corner acting like he was sort of discombobulated. I want you to go back, for me, I want you to go back and I want you to watch that moment again. Because you got Murphy laying in the corner and you got Rey Mysterio about 10 feet in front of him. Yet Murphy beat the crap out of Rey Mysterio 2-3 minutes earlier. And Rey Mysterio is standing about 10 feet in front of Murphy and looking at him like he's a potted plant. Why didn't Rey try to get a little retaliation on Murphy for what Murphy did to him 3 minutes earlier? You see that was such an awful camera shot. It reminded me when I used to talk about Vladimir Kozlov walking past Triple H in the Elimination Chamber when they were in the middle of feuding. Go back and you see what I'm talking about tonight. Rey's watching his son from outside the ring, and here's Murphy 10 feet away from him, and Rey acts like he's not even there. It's little things like that. That's careless. That's careless. And the cage match was great. Seth Rollins getting the win. Again, I don't like that the family is still there. It looks like a kindergarten kid that needs his mommy and daddy to be by his side. Yeah, Benjamin Kozlov. Yeah, a lot of people forgot about him. After the match is over, Seth Rollins attacks Murphy because Murphy inadvertently hit him with the cage door earlier. And Rollins like, how does that feel? It sucks. Plain said, it sucks. Yeah, it does suck. But, Rollins, beating down on Murphy. Look, the more Murphy gets beat up, the more in storyline you're supposed to have some sympathy for him. That's why Aaliyah showed a little compassion for Murphy. She might even start showing a little bit of a Alexa Bliss Fiend crush. And Rey will be totally against it, and Dominik will as well. Some of you might start thinking, hey, wasn't that like Stephanie McMahon in the late 90s when she would have like a little crush on someone? Oh, please, I do not want to see Aaliyah and Murphy be the new Stephanie and Test or, oh, no. No. Unless she's been training to wrestle, I really am not interested in seeing that. So, Raw Underground, best way I could describe it, Ziggler is there, Riddick Moss is there, they're brawling a little bit, commercial break. They're brawling a little bit. Braun Strowman shows up. Braun wants to be part of Raw Underground. He's pissed off. He wants to beat somebody down. Braun Strowman beats on Riddick Moss, beats on Ziggler. We don't get any wins. It's basically no contest, no contest, no contest, no contest, no contest, no contest. And then we get Dabo Kato with Braun Strowman. A little bit of a stare down, doesn't lead to anything. Raw Underground, I have been a fan of it since day one. The last 2 weeks, it has left me with a little bit of a sour taste in my mouth. The crazy camera shots is dizzying at times. The lack of outcomes, constantly getting knocked out of the ring. That's like a typical thing now. Oh, and here's another one too. What about that god-awful thing where we had the lights flicker, and that's why we had an outcome of a match early. Which match was it? Was it Shelton? It wasn't Shelton versus Ricochet. Whose match? It was Lashley and was it Lashley and Eric? Was it that match? The lights no, I know what it was. Aleister Black and Kevin Owens. They couldn't figure out a good finish to have Kevin Owens beat him. So we'll have the lights flicker for 2 seconds. Aleister Black is like, huh? What's going on? Huh? And Kevin Owens rolls him up and beats him. What a bullshit, cheesy way for a finish to happen. Kevin Owens defeats Aleister Black due to distraction of flickering lights. Makes Aleister Black look like a sissy. Retribution? Ah! Drew McIntyre, Keith Lee, having some brawling in the back. And all I saw on social media was people bitching that Keith Lee's now wearing like a singlet. Now you can only see 65% of his boobs instead of 0. I don't get it. I don't get it. The Riot Squad beating Natty and Lana in a minute. Lana getting put through a table. The Samoan drop by Nia Jax. Again, kind of feels like, all right, here's that brass ring for you. The brass ring is on Lana right now, and she got put through a table. But the main event tonight, once again, no contest. They've done this 3 times in the last 5 or 6 weeks. Match ends in a no contest. This time Retribution comes out, big numbers, beating the crap out of Keith Lee, beating the crap out of Drew McIntyre. There's like 20 or 30 of them. Remember I said earlier, they're using that kind of numbers now. That is going to remain. So this is not only a faction, this is going to probably be a promotion. A whole, company's worth. And you could almost see where it's going to start splitting. And it's leading right into Survivor Series. So how people don't equate that to Survivor Series yet is a little mind-boggling for me. But it was just so poorly done. Then the Hurt Business comes out. They look like absolute fools. I mean, MVP is supposed to be so smart, the brains, and, we got the Hurt Business, is why we do what we do. And they come out with 20-some-odd people, and they get beat down. It was stupid. They should have turned around and saw that many people and be like, wait, are you crazy? You're crazy? We don't get paid that kind of money to go against that many people. You're going to pay us 10 times the amount, motherfucker. They just walk into it, and they look like that they're having fun, and they did about 90 camera switches. It was so awful, the camera switches, and it was all done to hide the horrendous fighting. See, you got to understand something. When you have a Royal Rumble, and I brought that up before, when you have a Royal Rumble and you have 20 people in the ring, you have 10 on 10 fighting each other, or maybe you have a couple of people knocked out or something, but when it's an even playing field, everybody has somebody to beat on. When you have 25 on 4 and you have 6 people beating up one person, and somehow that one person is still standing there and his suit is not even touched, You have to switch cameras because it looks so bad on TV. They should have been torn to shreds in 10 seconds. And again, you go back and you focus only on MVP, and you'll realize how awful that is. I don't know who, this is more of, it's not shock value, but it's almost like, all right, breaking news, let's go to this camera, and you're watching something ridiculously bad on TV, but it's so disarray that you still watch it anyway. It's like WWE doesn't even give a shit that it looks horrendously bad, but it's such disarray that you'll still tune into it anyway. It's like a bad car accident. You just can't help but not turn away. Did not like the outcome of that match at all. It was god-awful. So, that was Raw. Freddie J wants to wish Antox a happy birthday. Happy birthday, Antox. Happy birthday, Lancer. He is a good friend of the show as well. I want to shout out Kearney once again. He had asked me earlier about the diet. Hopefully I answered it very thorough. I appreciate everybody who stuck around. Let me talk a little diet stuff. Maybe give somebody some tips of advice. You never know. I mean, I learned a lot of what I learned just watching videos of other people talking about it. I didn't just wake up one day with all this knowledge. I learned it from other people. So if I could pass it on to someone else, I absolutely love to do that. Ken terminated by DQ. He's surprised that I didn't compare Seth Rollins and Murphy's abusive storyline to Raven and Stevie Richards. No. I don't, not at all. I mean, Raven and Stevie Richards was a lackey. When Stevie Richards used to jump up and down and be goofy, the king of swing. Murphy is not that. Murphy is almost in a trance. Seth Rollins is a godlike character. Raven was never a godlike character. Just because someone is following someone else doesn't make them a Raven or Seth Rollins, because you look over the years, we have had people be a leader of a group of 1, 2, 3 people, and those minions do whatever those people say. It's not the same. Murphy screwed up a couple of times. Rollins beat him down. Look, Murphy inadvertently hit Rollins in the head with the cage door today. So Rollins doesn't have a right to be a little bit pissed off. Storyline wise, no. I mean, and you got to understand something too. Raven was a loner. And anybody that's trying, and I'm not saying this to insult you, but anybody that's trying to compare it to Raven and Stevie Richards doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about. Raven was a loner. Raven, if you remember the storyline, was not accepted by anyone. He followed grunge and Nirvana, but he was an outcast. So Raven, it was Raven's rules. Raven was an outcast, and Stevie Richards was just a lackey. Stevie Richards wasn't, under the trance or religion of Raven. Raven was just a loner. Stevie Richards was his lackey. And Raven would use Stevie Richards almost like, I don't want to say a slave, but so Seth Rollins thinks he's God. Raven never thought he was God. Raven just thought he was like a lone grunge guy that nobody would accept him. And it's nothing of the same. Just because one person listens to another person and one person keeps getting taken advantage of or slapped down or hit does not make them Raven, or does not make them this person, not make them this. It's Raven was never a Messiah, never a Jesus Christ. It wasn't even a David Koresh. Raven, got Cactus Jack, to follow him, but they weren't under like a trance. It's not a religion. It's not a cult. No, it's nowhere near the same. Nothing of the same. But I mean, I understand why you're saying that, but it's not. It's not. If you remember, you have to understand the origin of Raven's character to see, and you can't use Raven's character in WCW as well, because you might remember the pool segments and all that. That was just kind of hokey too. But no, it's just, look, there's been people over the years who, sold the bag of beans to someone else, and they believe all of what that person says and does, and they listen, and, they screw up and get abused, taken advantage of. It's been done hundreds of times over the decades, just in different variations of it. But look at the theme music for Seth Rollins and the way he comes out, and look at his beard and the way, yes, Seth Rollins always had the beard, but, they make him look like Jesus Christ. You might even remember a couple of years ago I said that if Seth Rollins ever left wrestling, he probably could portray Jesus Christ on a play or something. He looked a lot like Jesus Christ. So they are doing a Messiah character. Raven was never a Messiah. But I am a Seth Rollins fan, man. I mean, he is obviously, a victim in the overall scope of some of the creative. And he has done a lot to be the cheerleader for WWE. He has helped, Dominik a hell of a lot. But at the same token, though, he's been, involved in some very lackluster storylines. The Rey Mysterio eye thing was, horrendous. Then the stuff he did with Corbin and Lacey Evans that time when he was with Becky on screen as well, that was not very good either. So, but anyway, with that said, everybody, I'm going to jet out of here. I appreciate everybody who tuned in tonight. I actually did catch up with everybody's super chat, so I'm glad at that. So once again, just a reminder, everyone, I will be here Wednesday night with Mish. So you're going to get a special breakfast soup edition of Wednesday Night Dynamite. And we'll definitely have some fun convo there. And then I'm going to be going on vacation Thursday morning. I will be out of New York, getting up very early, so I don't want Wednesday to be a 3-hour night. But Thursday I will be gone, and I'll be returning back to New York early Monday morning. So I will be back in time for next Monday's show. But like I said, on Wednesday, during the day, I'm going to record like a 2 or 3 minute clip. I'll post it on YouTube, and it'll be the thread so everybody could post their questions for the Q&A. And then next week, I will record the Q&A. All of your questions that are posted, I'll answer every single one of them. And that's why, I'm not saying this is a, plug, but that's why you should be subscribed to this channel. If you want to send me some questions you want me to get into, subscribe this way. As soon as that video is up there, you'll know about it. And all I ask is when you send questions, you could ask me anything. Could be wrestling, could be non-wrestling, could be personal, suggestions, advice, politics, sport. I don't care what it is. Drugs, not anything illegal. My point is, whatever you do, just ask me stuff that's easy for me to answer. Sometimes people say to me like, your top 10 wrestlers of all time, or, give me 10 wrestlers from AEW and 10 wrestlers from NXT and 10 wrestlers from WWE and put them all together. And what faction would you fight? Give me things where I could just look at it and answer it. And that's the only way I could get through a couple hundred questions, So, I don't care what you ask me. If it's rapid fire, you could give me 100 because I could go through them bang, 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 bang. But just don't give me anything too complex where I have to start like doing crazy research because, there's so many questions that come in, it'll be very difficult to do. So everyone, have a great night. All the best. And if you're around Wednesday night, 10:05 p.m. Eastern, I'll be right back here with Mish. We'll give you episode 51 of Wednesday Night Dynamite. We'll talk about NXT. We'll talk about AEW. Any news that breaks between now and then that's not Raw or Smackdown related. And we'll see you Wednesday night over here. So with that said, once again, I apologize to everyone out there. I know some of you out there are really looking forward to Mish and I doing the show together tonight. But like I said, I wasn't making it up. I mean, Mish will tell you. The one thing about me is I don't lie. I might be a jerk a lot of times, but I don't lie. And he knows that at 11:03, I sent him the private message on Facebook with a whole bunch of question marks, like, where are you? And there was no response. And I said, okay, I got to make a decision. I said, okay, let me change all the templates. I disconnected the call. I reloaded the templates from Friday. That's why you got, the Walrus thing at the beginning. So I had to scramble in 2 minutes' time to give you, a different setup. Now, Mish and Screw Mish, there's going to be tons and tons of episodes with Mish over here. He is here to stay. I'm just a little disappointed because I know we really wanted to talk about Mickie James and Mercedes Martinez and Mia Yim and a few others. And, hey, it's not a big deal. So we'll be back here within 48 hours and we'll talk Wednesday wrestling. So everyone, much love as always. Before you go, if you enjoyed the show, if you could give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe and look out for that thread Wednesday because they'll give you an opportunity to pretty much ask me anything. So I appreciate it, everyone. Have a good night. Stay safe. I'll catch you Wednesday night. Ciao.